Great. Yeah, recording in progress. Hey, welcome back to There Will Be Bourbon. I've got Rob Haspels on tonight. You can find him on X at Viking Rob VWO. Did I get that right?
Yep.
I did. How you doing,
Yeah.
brother?
Pretty good. Long day of work. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers to that as usual. And as always, tonight's discussion, at least for me, will be fueled by America's native spirit. And we are doing that with this Whistle Pig Declaration 250th anniversary bottle that they have produced. It is a high wheat whiskey. It is a little young, and even its age stated on the back, 4 years at least. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's much older than that. But it's solid. It's only 86 proof, so nothing gonna knock you out. But we'll go with this tonight. Make a little old fashioned as we get going. And
Awesome.
fuck yeah, man. Kiss shirt, huh? What do you think
Um,
about I was having this discussion with my brother the other day. Like Kiss didn't really have any competition from what they were doing stylistically. You think it's because they were like the one New York City American rock band of the 70s and everybody else was just doing like, you had Deep Purple coming from England and then, the new wave of British heavy metal invented and all that stuff in the 80s, but Kiss was kind of their own thing, and then also obviously the stage presence was just one of a kind.
yeah, and I mean they weren't the first ones to like do the whole face makeup thing. The New
Yeah.
York Dolls
Oh, that's
actually had
right.
that
Yeah.
going,
Your
and
dolls.
that was actually David Johansen, who would later in the '80s form a lounge act, and he called himself Buster Poindexter. Remember the
Oh,
hot tone? That was the singer from the New York Dolls back
oh
when they did
shit.
all the makeup back in the '70s. So it's basically them and then Kiss, and Kiss just came out and they said they wanted to be like the heavy metal Beatles, right?
Okay.
And they wrote songs. I mean, some of them are, if you're not a fan, you consider it, not very good music or a throwaway song, but they just wrote some memorable songs. Nothing of it was super
Yeah.
tricky. And then you had Ace Frehley on lead guitar, and we lost
Yeah.
Ace this year. Boy, we've lost a lot of musicians since the last time that we did a podcast.
Yeah.
We lost
Man.
Bill from Motorhead,
Yeah.
lost Ace, quite a few really good, staple guys that have grown up,
Mhm.
and listening to music. So, but I really think it was a combination of they had good music. I mean, it's nothing that was just going to blow your mind or whatever else musically, but the presentation part of it
Yeah.
and the
It was the
merchandising
theater.
part of it, which they probably went over the top. And I think everybody can agree on that over all the years. But they hit it on showmanship, and it was
Oh yeah.
the like the
It was a show
thrill
to
of the
see.
show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's one of the coolest things. And that is why I think some of these bands like the Iron Maidens, Metallicas and all that, they've managed to stay relevant because of their live act, their live performance, especially Iron Maiden. I'm excited to go see them in September. They're coming back. But yeah, the first Iron Maiden show I went
yeah,
to, I was just like, holy shit, like this is like it's like a movie with every song. And
right,
actually, one of my favorite ones that I actually saw, I was really impressed with this, is I went with my daughter. She's a big fan of Starset. I don't know if you heard of them or not.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. So they did the last show we went to, it was in Chicago. It was a club, and they did kind of like a concept movie. So their entire stage was a 3D movie projection of like a real movie they were doing, and then the music they would play the songs that kind of went and supported it as you were going. It was really fucking cool to see inside of a club setting. I could imagine if they were ever big enough to do like an arena or a stadium, like that'd be something cool as hell to see. But yeah, they did a really good one, and I think that's what makes these bands. Because no one wants to go see a band that just kind of sucks live. You know what I mean? Like, and that's
Yeah.
why.
Well, I've been an Iron Maiden fan, and it's my favorite band. I've been a fan my whole life. It's probably 10 years ago now that I finally got to see them for the first time. We went to
Yeah.
Lincoln, Nebraska, and they were at the big arena
Hmm.
where the Cornhuskers like basketball team plays, all that other stuff.
Yeah.
So Ghost had just come out. Ghost was the
Okay.
opening act. Had
Oh,
never
wow.
really gotten into him or whatever.
Yeah, I haven't either,
I
but
don't
I
care if
know.
they're like the Satan stuff and
Yeah.
whatever, but I mean, good music. But Iron Maiden, Bruce Dickinson is underrated as and I know Steve Harris writes most of the music and everything, but Bruce heavily collaborates on the lyrics with the storytelling because
Yeah.
every Iron Maiden song tells a story about
Yeah.
something. I mean, either it's war, it's society, it's this or that, you know. It's I mean, between Steve, who is obviously my number one idol on bass guitar, and that's why that bass that I play live in the band, that white Fender P bass, is built with a Bill Bartolini 8SU pickup. I've got flat wounds, Diodario chromes on it, and I just spent over $2,000 on an Ashdown bass rig.
Oh
With a turn
wow.
of a button, I can go from like regular, just deep bass, like Donald Duck Dunn, and then just hit
Mhm.
one button, and I can get the Steve Harris brighter sound. But it's
That's cool.
built basically to his specs. Then I hit one other button. I've got built-in distortion. I can grab a pick on the only song that I do when we play Ace of Spades by Motorhead and do some
Yeah.
Lemmings.
Yeah, that's cool. That's what I really loved about Iron Maiden. I don't know if you got a chance to see that kind of movie documentary they just came out with in theaters, I think back in May. And a lot of it's not new, but it is cool to see a lot of the old footage and all, but to see the progression, right? Because at first, they came out. What was the original singer's name? I know he died recently.
Paul Diano.
Paul Dion. Yeah. So like
Yeah,
his style, the way they first started, it was, they were on the kind of didn't want to be punk, and that was what that was the big thing, and that was what they were
right.
being told to do, and they weren't going to do that because they already had like the chops musically. You could see it very early with Phantom of the Opera. I mean, that was just a song
Mm-hmm.
that just fucking nobody was doing anything like that at the time, and that's on their
Right.
first album. But the progression, once Dickinson came on from stylistically to lyrics, everything that you were talking about, storytelling, because they weren't really telling any stories in those first two albums with him. It was just more catchy
Right.
stuff, the typical themes of the moment. And obviously, when you're young, you're not thinking like that. And what I always respected about Iron Maiden is they took it serious. Like they made this their craft, and that was Steve Harris's thing. Like he was, I may have already told you this, or you may already know, but I remember one of the documentaries I watched. This was years ago when they had formed the band. Like we were trying to record their first demo, and they had a guitarist, and he wasn't showing up to rehearsals, and so they went over there, and they're like, "Yo, what the fuck, man?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm having problems with my girlfriend." He's like, "Well, you're either in now or you're not." And he's like, "I'm just I can't." And so this guy misses out on the opportunity to be in arguably the biggest band of all time because he was arguing with
Right.
a girlfriend. That's fucking wild, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that is crazy. And I think one of the coolest things Iron Maiden ever did, and you just usually don't see this, when Adrian Smith decided to
Took
reunite
off.
with the band in the early
Yeah.
2000s, they kept Yannick Gears
Yeah. Yeah.
on as a third guitar player. And it's like outside of Leonard Skinner, you don't see worldly famous, I mean, huge
Right.
bands do
Right.
that. And they're running three guitar players. I mean,
Yeah,
there's,
they all have their own parts. It's crazy.
I mean, it's just amazing to hear,
Yeah.
whether it be on album or live. I mean, it's better live, but
Yeah, live
you
is
know,
cool to see because Yannick's a bit more of a showman. The way he performs live, like he's got his leg up on top of the amp. He's doing shit over his head and all.
yeah,
For his pieces and all. Dave is a little more like he's a little more stoic, and then Adrian's a little more rocker. I think
yeah,
he always had kind of more of the presence as well. But yeah, Yannick's fun to watch. But yeah, you're right, and I'm kind of curious to see how they're going to be with. They had to get rid of Nico because he had to step back with his health issues, so they got a
yeah,
new drummer touring. So
yeah. And I think Nico said if he's able, he wants to do like studio recordings in the
yeah,
future with them.
I hope they
But
do an
he just,
album.
I mean, he is quite he's up there. What is he, 77 now? And he
Yeah,
gave
they're getting there.
40,
Yeah,
40
40 years.
solid years of his
Yeah,
life to this band, toured the world, 500 times.
yeah,
I mean, everybody gets old sooner or later,
yeah.
just
That's
look
what
at,
sucks.
right?
That's what sucks, man. Yeah, it is because it's wild to think like the band's older than me. Like that's what's
Right.
yeah, it's just, and they're still out doing it and doing it well. They're not just like hanging on trying to play shows to make money. Like they don't need money. They just do it because they love it. And
Yeah.
they're that's they take like I said, they take it serious. Um
Shit, their first full studio EP dropped in 79. I was 2 years old.
yeah.
I mean,
I wasn't even born. So yeah, I know it's crazy, man. And that's why it's also really cool like to see. I think you mentioned 10 years ago the first time you saw him. I think it was probably the same tour. It was 2015. No, I'm sorry, it was February 2016. It was the first leg in Florida when they were kicking off that tour for um fuck album was that? Well, the one that came out in 2015. But that was
yeah,
the
I
first
know.
stop.
Yep.
That was the first one that they flew Ed Force One into Florida on.
Right.
So it was cool because I pulled up and it's pouring rain, like it's fucking Florida in February. It's always raining. And so they had Steve Harris's son's band scheduled to open up for him, but they wanted to just rush everybody in to get him out of the rain. So they started early, which was really cool. Um, but I remember they just had came back from Bruce's like is it he had just had that surgery on his throat, the throat cancer.
Yeah. Yep.
So they were all like, and they show it in this movie. Like, this is the first show. They're wondering how he's going to sound. And I was just like blown away at how fucking amazing he sounded. Like, just their
Yeah.
whole presence was like I said, that was the first time I seen him live, but I was like, oh, this is like it's a movie. Now, he was
Yeah.
incredible.
And
Like, they were
a lot
great.
of people don't know that Bruce is the pilot
He's
of Ed
fucking
Force
pilot. Like,
One,
dude is like the most,
along with being a certified double or triple A master swordsman that competes in
yeah.
fencing
Yeah.
competitions. He's got a pilot's license.
Yeah.
He does all of these
The
things. It's like
Renaissance man. Yeah. He's
he
legit.
lives that life that like everybody dreams about doing, right?
Yeah.
You know?
And that's what's cool, like, because you bring up the pilot thing. Like, he talks about that. He talks about it in his book. I don't know if you ever had a chance to read that. That was a while ago. It was probably 8 or 9 years ago. I think "What Does This Button Do" is what it's called. Um, but his family, like his uncles, like they were all Royal Air Force pilots. Like
Mm-hmm.
he grew up with like pilots as like his those were his, as he calls them, those were his heroes. And so it's only natural that eventually he found himself into, but his story it's pretty crazy because he was, in some sort of like theatric boarding school at some point growing up in high school, and he found his way into music. But yeah, that path, and then is kind of funny because where I grew up in Florida, there's an old airport, very small, and this is where he was in Florida back in the, I think, early 90s. He actually took his first flight lesson at that airport that I grew up next to, which is so wild. I'm
Nice.
like, what the fuck? Bruce Dickinson. He
That's
drove
awesome.
by and he's like on a whim, like, you know what? I'm gonna go take a lesson. I'm gonna go up in a fucking plane and learn how to do this shit. And he did it. And I think that's the coolest thing is like we all have so many things that we wish we would just find a way or a time to do it. And he was just, at the peak of his fucking fame. It's like, I'm gonna go learn how to be a pilot. It's like,
Right. I mean, yeah, that's just badass.
yeah. Um, all right, man. I know you tagged me a while back and you wanted to talk about some stuff, leadership, the doctrine, and all this shit. And I wanted to preface that by saying, like, that nut forager, Adam Kinzinger, the only time I mention his name ever here, had the audacity to kind of poke the bear, not knowing a thing about you. But,
Yeah.
29 years retired, active duty, E8, kind of lived it, done it, knows a few things, probably a hell of a lot more than a fucking flying gas attendant that he is. So let me get your let's get into that, man. What was the feeling when you see something like that when someone who has no concept of who you actually are trying to take some sort of personal attack?
Well, the first thing I did was laugh
Yeah.
because, I mean, we all in this corner dog on Adam all the time
Yeah.
because it's just stupid
Well
take
deserved.
after stupid take, and instead of saying anything or responding, and granted, I was just trolling him and
Yeah.
everything because I've tried talking with him serious before. All he does is just keep on regurgitating stupid shit. He won't even talk to you. So all I did was just put "shut the fuck up," and then he comes back and blows up a picture of my face,
Oh, yeah.
like all zoomed in on my goatee and stuff, and oh my fan base sure is interesting to look at and stuff like that. And then everybody comes dogging on him and everything. It's like, yeah, I mean, I was full time for 20 out of my 29 years, all that other stuff, and it's like, do you really want to start this? Because if you actually want to have any kind of discussion of substance, I'd probably freaking skull drag your ass.
No,
You, you
that's
know,
100%.
and it's just, I mean, I had to laugh, and it does make you kind of feel good, when the crowd rallies and everything else, and but see, this is what I'm talking about. There's been such a shift because it's probably been a year or so since we've done this, maybe a year and a half, and
Yeah,
everything.
about a year and a half.
In that time, it hasn't just been a shift societally and politically.
Yep.
There's bleed through always into the military and stuff like that. And when you see leaders or former leaders and everything, just and I think what was happening was he was complaining in that post about either Hegseth bringing his kids and his wife on a
Yep.
trip or something other that
That's what it
Hegseth did.
was.
I don't remember right offhand
That's what
because,
it was.
yeah. And it's like, how miserable do you have to be of a human being
Yep.
to get mad that a guy and then it comes out afterwards that he paid the portion for his wife and kids and
Of
everything.
course he did.
How,
The guy's not broke. He's not going to try and take advantage of the
you
fucking
know,
taxpayers. That's
it's like, how miserable do you have to be that petty and everything? I
yeah.
mean, there's a reason why he's not a congressman anymore.
Yeah.
But it's just in that's where we're at as a society right now, and it really bothers me. And you've seen some of the dust ups that I've had over the
Yeah.
past couple of years with some of the big, mill Twitter personalities and stuff like that, and whatever. And it's just, at some point in time, if you want to come and immediately try to hit below the belt at me, I mean, I'm really good at trolling. I can hit back and we can play this game. But I would also like to actually have a meaningful discussion. Where are we at? How did we get here? And how do we move? What's the path forward? I mean, there's been so many dynamics that have changed since Trump took office, since they started reworking the order of priorities, I guess.
Mhm.
Who would ever think that you got to sit here and kick and throw a fit so bad about trying to make it merit based? you know and this is a big can. I mean, we can probably sit here and visit each of these topics over the next hour or whatever, however long this goes and everything. But it just starts with, I think what they did was they knew right where to hit the old guard and everything with this DEI stuff. And I've been saying for the past couple of years, you know, and they knew exactly how to get right under everybody's skin. Diversity isn't our strength, unity is what Hegseth always says. Well,
Yep.
so if you really, really think about it, diversity is part of it's a force multiplier, and it can be part of being a strength, but on its face itself, it's not a strength. Here's why.
Right.
All diversity does is it allows you to cast the widest possible net as to
Mhm.
where you're not excluding anybody from race, creed, religion, gender ideology, anything. You're all welcome to come and take a shot at it,
But
right?
there's a
We're not going to
standard.
keep you out because of that, but
Yeah.
you have to meet the standards.
Right.
And then your career is going to depend on how good you make yourself, and it will be merit based. In that aspect, diversity is a force multiplier. It's an enabler to be a strength. But the problem is, and this is what the left does, and they've done it for years, and they're still trying to do it, is they're taking the immutable characteristic itself, like the color of the skin or
Yep.
the religion or the sexual orientation, saying on its face, that is a strength. Well, that's bullshit.
It's not
It never
right
has been.
because it's only
Because
a strength if it's not a white guy or a white female.
right, but my point is, this is very easily just do a simple common sense test. I've had, as a first sergeant, as a platoon sergeant,
Mhm.
the brigade SPO NCOIC, people from many, many different nations, many different sexual orientations, many colors of skin, many religions. Some of them have been some of my top performing soldiers. I put a medal on them on a regular basis after an annual training, or they deployed. They when they were taken away from me, come back. They've got all kinds of medals. And I've had some that can't make it 4 or 5 drills without pissing hot on a piss test, being
Right.
50 pounds overweight, failing
Yes.
PT, and getting their ass kicked out.
Yeah.
It's like at some point in time you have to realize it really is about what you do and your quantifiable accomplishments, and it's not about the immutable characteristics. But see, we can't seem to get past this with the left right now, because the left wants to emphasize the immutables. The right wants to emphasize, we don't care about your immutables. We care about once you get in the door, if you qualify,
What can
are
you
you going to
do?
meet the standards?
Yeah.
And then how good can you be? We'll set you
Right.
up for success, but you have to do the work.
Yep.
And the better that you are, we'll recognize you. And that's one of the biggest breakdowns in communication right now. And you can say, and I've typed all this shit out on numerous tweets, and the trolls just want to keep arguing. And then even worse, you have the intellectuals in academia want to come on and write a full-blown ass novel about how that's wrong.
Tom
And
Nichols.
DEI, oh God, Tom Nichols. You know what? I don't even dislike Tom. I look forward to Tom posting anymore because every now and then he'll engage you and you can actually try to get
Yeah.
something meaningful out of him. But,
The first time I ever crossed paths with Tom was I was in California, so I must have just gotten there. It was probably 2017. And I've tried to go back because it was on an old account that I lost when I said apparently, nuking. Well, no, I didn't say nuke. I said napalm is a strategy or a tactic or something that you could use for people invading the southern border. I don't,
correct. Yeah.
but anyway,
You could.
the old
I
ex did
mean,
not like that. So
right.
which is actually even funnier because while that account still to this day is bigger than the one I have now, it was never monetized because as soon as I got this one back, like a month later, I dropped that stupid tweet about because I just moved my nightstand with a gun on it and a paper cup of wine and my keys and for some reason that's the thing that goes 27 million views. I don't know, but that instant modification, we're good. But him and Tom Nichols and I like he was very big on like Russia as like biggest threat in the fucking world back in
Hmm.
2017. And I went after him. I was just like, dude, their fucking nuclear arsenal is a bunch of fucking rusted out bullshit. They have no NCO core. Like they don't believe in any sort of mission command concepts that we have done in the United States. They believe it's a pure
Right.
hierarchical thing. And he would just keep arguing back about how they're the number one nuclear enemy and all this and they're the most serious fucking world power besides us on the planet. I'm like, where does this even come from? It's not fucking the Cold War anymore, man. Like I don't know what he learns or where he's learned and how to maintain any of the stuff that he has already been previously qualified to teach, but he's clearly not keeping up with what's actually going on in the world because all he has to look place now. If I had that conversation with him in 2017 and I said Russia's going to invade Ukraine in 2022 and they're going to get their ass kicked, do you think he'd believe me?
Of course not. And that's what we all watched happen in real time,
It's
like a
going on
year
right
into
now.
it.
It's
Yeah, like a year
fucking
into it,
happening.
a
Yep.
couple years before I retired and everything, we all the senior NCOs and all the command teams had a meeting with the adjutant general of the state, as did happen every year and sometimes multiple times a year. And he even made a joke. He's like, when it comes to Russia, and he's like, I don't think anybody in this room can sit here with a straight face and call them a peer or near peer threat anymore after seeing what we saw. And everybody just kind of laughed. And it's like, yeah, that turned out to be the big red bear turned out to be a paper one for sure. And it just really makes me wonder, where's China now? Yeah, I mean, we overestimated Russia so much. I
Yeah.
don't think we want to underestimate China by any stretch of imagination, but you know, and this all gets back to this is being fed by the intelligence community that's got an agenda to a certain extent and everything. And then when we see them actually have to perform, and it was, I mean, between Russia and the Ukraine, because kind of, my opinion is fucking both. But I mean, yeah, they took modern warfare back to World War I trench style shit. The only thing of it is they're flying drones.
Flying fucking
I
drones
mean,
and now they can't move. Yeah.
pathetic.
Yeah.
And the reason why it's pathetic is because, as you already stated, there's no officer corps, there's no discipline, there's no, you know, like Lisco doctrine. I mean, they're using the same feed it into the meat grinder mentality that they used during World War II. That's a war that they won because they had more bodies to stick in the meat grinder and get chewed up by German, you know, light and heavy machine guns than what the Germans did. It's just it's amazing how we get there. You know, and then it gets down to that broader thing, which is point number two, academia versus experience. And this is where it's a continual battle every day. I've got a I've got a lot of guys that are academics that I do respect. One of them on there, it's Hubie PhD PE, right? This
Okay.
guy is very smart. I mean, he's got his doctor's degree or multiple of them in like engineering, science, nuclear, everything else. And I just had a discussion with him just yesterday as to where it's like, you know what, you're correct. Academia is where innovation and the research, the experimentation, following the 7 steps of the scientific method, right?
Yep.
That's where academia happens. And then all of the PhDs and the guys out there working actually in the real world, in nuclear, in physics, in science, technology, everything else. They're the ones coming up and fielding the new systems and then finding the problems, working together with academia to troubleshoot, figure out, how to make improvements going forward so we always have new relevant technology, especially in the public sector where we engage in war fighting, where we rely on these guys to come up with the newest technology to build things like the F-22 and our latest versions of drones or whatever the hell it is
Mhm.
that we're using, any type of ordnance. That's not what I'm getting at. He's absolutely correct, but that is almost exclusively to the STEM field. What I'm getting at is the armchair philosophers, the guys that are getting degrees where they aren't doing much of anything other than just taking in lecture after lecture from a very hardened, doctrinated leftist professor, and then simply regurgitating that onto a sheet of paper to get some doctorate degree or master's degree in some type of liberal arts type of thing, like philosophy, underwater basket weaving, gender studies, you name it. We make fun of all these things, but these are the people out there doing the damage, running their damn mouth, how they're such an expert at everything because they have this piece of paper that says so.
Right.
Well, my point has been, and I've argued this for the past couple of years now, education is merely a stepping point. It's actually, everybody acts like getting that degree is such a culminating experience and a major life accomplishment. It's
It
an
used to be.
accomplishment, but
I would say it
it's
used to be.
really,
It's not anymore because
yeah, it's literally step one in your journey. Mark Twain once said, I never let my schooling get in the way of my education." You can obtain education many different places other than a formal school setting by taking tests. And it's like I've said this many times too. The real key to success in any aspect of life, whether you're in the civilian sector, the military sector, uh, anything that you're doing, raising a family and everything, wisdom. Wisdom is what raises good families. Wisdom is what operates successful businesses. Wisdom is what wins fights on the battlefield and then also doesn't let the politicians at a higher level lose wars when you're winning fights in the battlefield. Well, what is wisdom? Wisdom is a combination of knowledge, which is not synonymous with college education, knowledge and experience. See, I would not have a problem with all these people that are credentialists and everything. It's almost like patents of nobility. Back in the day, you can't joust if you can't produce your patents of nobility. Well, what if I'm a way better jouster than you? It doesn't matter. If you're not from noble lineage, you're not playing in these games. You know, and it's like you can't even be part of the discussion if you don't have the patents of nobility anymore.
yeah.
You just seen that discussion happening all week long last week too, and you got to understand. I will respect a guy that has the credentials if they lead. When somebody asks, well, what qualifies you to be an expert on this? Well, I have spent 25 years in my field. I've done this, this, and this, and this. I have tried, I failed here. This is what I produce, and this is why I consider myself an expert. Now, little Miss Snooty Britches comes along. What qualifies you to be an expert? Well, I have a degree in blah, blah. As soon as I hear that, I'm out. I do not give a shit. Anybody can get a degree. It just depends on how much money you have
Yeah.
or how much debt you're willing to incur to go ahead and get that piece of paper signed from somebody. I want to know what you have actually done that's quantifiable, that's actually made an impact. You know, nobody hires a person that goes straight through college, gets an MBA. No corporation is hiring them to put them in any kind of serious management position without cutting their teeth at the lower levels first. Literally, absolutely nobody. You don't get to step out of college and into a management position with zero experience. That is asinine to think that anybody would. Why should we take and let some blowhard that simply has a degree and really hasn't ever really done anything that's quantifiable in their life sit here and lecture us from a position of authority as an expert? Why would a person do that? You know,
I'm curious. I I agree 100% with what you're saying, because that is unfortunately the reality of where we're at in terms of anyone with a degree. I wouldn't say certification so much, but degrees still hold a lot of weight. Um, And I don't think in certain fields they should, because I think a lot of
Right.
fields experience, but also intuition matters more than a fucking piece of paper, right? Because you can get a
Yeah.
piece of paper in anything, but how do you apply it, right? It's why I talk about leadership. Uh, I did my master's in organizational leadership, and I remember one of the courses was, is leadership just something you're born with, or can you learn it and become an expert in it? And I argued against it because I'm sure you can learn things, right? You can learn leadership styles. You can read about
Right.
previous accomplishments. You can learn different philosophies. You can learn how to apply certain techniques. But at the end of the day, when you reduce this down to just fucking human DNA, natural born leaders exist.
Yeah.
History is riddled with men and some women as well who've been able to lead a large following or a group of people or a country for that fucking matter. Like, they didn't become those people because they went and studied a fucking philosophy on how to do it. They were just great natural leaders. Like, that's a real thing. And that's why I am curious on your thoughts of this, because I've talked about this off and on for years. It really doesn't matter so much anymore. I know you were in when it was still going on, like the push for NCOs to get fucking degrees. And then there was always that
Right.
chatter, well, like if they do get a degree, should they get paid more? Because you need a degree to commission, but it's like, and you have plenty of experience as well. Like, is a degree really just the one barrier to entry
Well,
into the officer corps? Because really, that's all it is. And it doesn't matter what degree you have, you just need a degree.
a degree. Yeah. And if
And you
we're
can
being,
actually
and like,
bypass the qualification process of MEPS by just going to ROTC. You don't even have to have a passing ASVAB, but you can have a fucking degree. And now all of a sudden, in 4 years, congrats, you're an
yeah,
officer.
and if we're being 100% honest, I stopped at 90 credit hours. I mean, I
Mhm.
have an associate's. I never went and finished the bachelor's because I did not see the point in trying to wrap something up in a bachelor's degree. Since then, every time I've taken some education thing, it's just because I wanted to learn a specific thing or it was something that interested me. I mean, I have about 23 credit hours from Moody Bible Institute just doing different
Just
things
doing
with
stuff.
theology
Yeah.
proper 101, bibliology, stuff like that. Then I have a couple things over here where I taken some psychology courses just because I thought it would
Yeah, you're
help
just fucking
augment.
learning. It's just fucking,
You know,
you're
when
learning. That's awesome.
yeah, I felt it would augment, especially after I went to MRT stuff when that was a big thing and came out in
Yeah.
2013. I went
Yeah.
and did all that crap, whatever. That was U.S. Army plus University of
Be the
Pennsylvania at the
ball,
time.
not the egg.
Yeah, I've taken some business management things here and there worth
Okay.
10 credit hours there, 10. I went on the ACT site
Yeah.
right before I graduated. In between what the Army, what they consider transferable credit hours,
Mhm.
most like state universities or whatever will accept. I'm sitting on something like 300 of them, but they're all shotgunned over like 30 different types of things.
Degrees.
Because all I
Yeah.
did, if I felt like I need to know something, I just went and took a class here, took a class there. I never wrapped it up into a bachelor's or a master's, you know. So I retired, get into the career I got in right now, which is management. If I ever went higher to regional manager, like a regional vice president with the company I'm with right now, I would actually consider taking the 6 months or whatever they're telling me of night classes to wrap up a bachelor's and then do the shortest route from point A to point B to get like an
Check the
MBA or
block.
whatever.
Check the block.
You know,
Yep.
just to check the block to make sure I can keep advancing. But I also only plan on working about 10 more years, you know, and whatever, and then retiring for good, you know,
Yeah.
once I'm able to draw everything after the age of 60. So, you know, I mean, it's so far some of the things I've learned have come in useful, but it's like I really pinpointed the exact nitty gritty of what I wanted for from the classroom portion of different things. And I took and applied that to just doing a lot of my own studies. I mean, I read books. You know, a lot of these officers think they're I don't know if they're trying to impress somebody because they know who Klaus von Clausewitz
That's
was,
Witz,
or
yeah.
Sun Tzu, or Thucydides, the Athenian general that kind of founded the political state of warfare and everything else. It's like, I mean, I see them on here yapping all the time. It's like you do realize that us dumb peons have actually studied that and read it. A lot of us have. You're not. It's not like you're some great
Yeah, it's
wonder to behold
antiquated.
because you can talk
It's
about
antiquated. And that's why I come back to, like, is a college degree really the one barrier of entry we're going to continue to have as you know, the membership card for being an officer?
right.
Personally, I think if we're going to do degrees, they should be relevant to what you're that could actually be something you do within the military. Like, I'm cool with
Yeah,
STEM, I'm cool with certain soft skills, but you've already mentioned it, like all the various different bullshit fucking degrees that anyone can get from these diploma mills, like post. I'm so tired of seeing post university and Strayer and all these shits that are just give us your money and in a few years you'll have a degree. You're not really going to learn
yep,
anything. It's just, can you submit your stuff on time? Like, that's not college to me, but whatever. Um, I think there has to be something more. I really would. I know there is a GT equivalent or a GT score that's required if you, but there's loopholes. I already said that. The ROTC is the biggest fucking loophole in this country, and I know it produces the most officers, but I have a big problem with it because it produces a lot of shit. Um, Now, it
yeah,
does produce some good ones, but unfortunately, the ones that I've seen coming lately, majority, I don't have a lot of confidence in. I just don't. I don't understand. I think it's gone back to, and you've probably seen this in some of the, don't get me wrong, the NCOs have a lot of issues as well. The NCO Corps could use a lot of
yeah,
restructuring. We've gotten to a point where you talked about it in your earlier piece about, like, hey, we're all Hegseth is trying to do is bring things back to, standards, right? Meeting standards and all. And I think we've gotten too much on both sides. And I can't speak to what the officers' schools are because I don't go through them. I just know what they produce because they come back to the formation. But from the NCO side, it's just too many. Everybody passes. Like, we're
yeah.
afraid to just fail people out. And I think the last time I really saw people fail was only because of the test portion. And this was drill sergeant school. This was 2008, so this was a long time ago. We started with 139, and I think we graduated 108. But I still remember this one dude. I can't remember his fucking name. I know his face, and I'm not gonna say his name if I knew it. But I still see his, when we're pitching modules on what you would instruct to the privates in basic training. One of them is how to execute about face. How to execute an about face and demonstrate it while you're doing it. This fucking guy, an E6, could not do an about face without, like,
Really.
losing his coordination and almost falling over. But he passed all the tests. He qualified expert, and he ran like a 12-minute 2 mile. But he had
That's all I
zero
need, right?
presence. He had zero presence to be in front of soldiers. And this guy went on to become a drill sergeant. I'm sorry, but in that instance, you are qualified. You're actually, oh, you're really highly qualified as a soldier from a PT standpoint and a rifle standpoint. Those are great. I'm not putting you in front of soldiers. Just not doing it. But that's me, and I don't. That's what I would. Then that's what I've seen throughout so many NCOEs, even the NCOES schools, ALC, BLC, PLDC, whatever the fuck you want to call them at this point. People just everyone passes. Everybody
Yeah.
gets passing. And
Well, and that's just
we're
it.
afraid to just tell people, sorry, man, but you're just not good enough right now.
Yeah, and that is incumbent on us senior NCOs to make sure we're putting in the extra time. And it's not during the day. I mean, this is that extra time where if you see the potential in somebody,
Right.
that's where we really need to be doing a better job, or the people that are still in, anyways, of drilling down and identifying the talent and the potential. But if they're really raw and they're not good at the intangible things, or we just need to build those core competencies and everything, that's where it's worth the time for the senior NCOs to put the effort at the extra effort into mentoring these guys and everything, because leaders aren't just born, they're developed.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
great if you have natural leadership skills like we both agreed
Right.
upon
Yeah.
earlier, but that still needs to be developed, and you
Yeah.
still have to have
And the
that guy or
experience,
that gal,
wisdom, as you were talking about. Yeah.
that take you under their wing and develops it.
Yeah.
I if you would have asked me 20 years ago, am I going to stand in front of formations and be able to, not eloquently, but effectively, get a message out, make sure everybody has a shared understanding of what has to happen, the priorities in order, and okay, let's execute, and it's going to work. I would have kind of laughed, but I had people that took their time and they invested in me because they saw something, right?
Right.
And that's what I've tried to do with all of my senior NCOs and my junior NCOs, the E5s and E6s and everything. I did put them in some positions where it's like, hey, so and so's gone, you're stepping up. I'm an E5. That's a platoon sergeant job. Yeah, but you got it and everything. I'll be standing right behind you. I can, if you need help, you just holler over your back shoulder. But the only way you're going to learn is if you do this and everything. And then afterwards, just pull them aside. Hey, that was a great try. This is what I would recommend. Let's try this, this, and this, and this. This is why. You know, the biggest things that leaders don't understand, especially where they're in the spotlight, they freeze up and everything else, is empathy, being able to put yourself into somebody else's shoes, understand your people, know what their capabilities are. And that's why it's called training, because that's why we find out what our capabilities are. But then you can't be a spineless bastard. Once the weaknesses are identified, that is what you focus on.
Yep.
You can and you need to give compliments too. Trust me, you need to give the compliments along with the constructive stuff. A lot of people think that they're doing a great job of an NCO if all they do is walk down the hallway every day and bark at somebody that's got their hand in their pocket, or their hair isn't shaven and everything else. All they do, and a good NCO, their job is to enforce AR 670-1. Well, I could bring back an old practice called courtesy patrol. It's a little armband that says CP. I can put a PFC in charge of policing, grooming, and uniform standards. That's not what I need out of my E5s, my E6s, my E7s. I need you to be developing competent war fighters at the E4, E5, E6, and E7 level. It's a team effort. We all have to learn together. When you do this training, be honest on the evaluations. Let's identify the weaknesses. Let's get our weakest people trained up. And sometimes the only way that they realize it is you just flip tables on them totally and say, hey, you're in charge of this today. Well, and I've had a couple soldiers come right out and say, they instantly go white and they come up afterwards like, First Sergeant, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a shitbag. I'm the worst soldier in this platoon. Why did you just put me in charge of something? There's a reason. There's a reason, but you're in charge of this today. You're going to do this.
Yep.
Afterwards, we're going to sit down after hours. I'll buy you a beer and we're going to talk about it. But you are in charge of this, and I expect this mission to happen. And they come back, and you know what? Afterwards, you're like, I just saw myself and everything that I need to work on. I'm like, you know
Yep.
what? Yeah, now let me help you with this a little bit. And we go into the details and so on and so forth. Uh, it's the amount of time and the amount of effort you're willing to invest into people, and my change of responsibility ceremony, part of my speech that I gave, because I was a first sergeant for 6 years, that's 3 times longer than what you're actually supposed to go.
Yep.
The introduction of MLC really bottlenecked things, especially in Compo 2 and Compo 3. I had taken my second platoon sergeant. She came to me as an E6. We got her E7. I actually sat there after hours with my AGR people, and we ran her through mock boards. She boarded very well. She did not get my first sergeant position, but a week later, she got offered a different FSC first sergeant position. Basically, I only did one board and got it on her first try. That's what I'm talking about, is putting that effort, identifying that talent. But in my speech, I said, there's a lot of things a person can invest in this world. Some people chase that college degree. Some people, you want to be in the military because you want a great big old ribbon wrap, and you want that shadow box and whatever, or maybe making money, maybe you have a big bank account. But I said, there's a 50-50 chance that you can die young or you can live old. And let's say that you're one of the ones that you find yourself in your retirement home someday. And if the only thing that you have is that shadow box with your ribbons on the wall, money in the bank, or that diploma hanging on the wall, you got 57 channels of shit on the TV and nothing on and everything. If you didn't invest in people, you're going to be very unfulfilled. and your final days are not going to be fulfilling. But if you invested in people, if you don't at least have people coming to visit you and everything else, you have the memories of being able to watch the people that you mentored succeed and go on to even do greater things than what you did.
Yeah.
And you can at least live a satisfied, peaceful, happy life knowing that you made a difference in somebody's life or
And you should be
multiple
happy
people's
for
life.
that too.
And you should be
You shouldn't be
happy. That should
resentful
be
of someone's success, especially
right.
someone if you're, you can feel like
Yeah.
you played a part in that, you're partly responsible. No, I think that's awesome, man.
And by the way, this soldier I was referring to that she got her first sergeant position, she just did come back from the Middle East too on this deployment.
Oh
She just
yeah.
got selected. She just got selected for E9.
Oh nice. See,
So
there
she
you
did.
go. Look
She
at
did
that.
pass me up. I
There you
mean,
go.
and I,
Yeah.
I do. I take great pride in things like
Yeah.
that. Of um, when she first came to me as an E6, her first year was a struggle. I never officially put anything down on paper, but um, there was a time, our very first annual training, where nothing was going right with that platoon. So our platoon leader and maintenance control officer for the company was also a female. So I grabbed her, and she was prior enlisted, just excellent first lieutenant. Um, Grabbed her, just because of the female thing and everything. Went and sat down in the headquarters tent, and I said, "Look," and I'd written something about this long, just handwritten on a sheet of paper, and I'm like, I'm not dogging it. This is what I'm noticing that you're not doing and why things are blowing up in your face and nothing's went right in the past 48 to 72 hours for you. You're not doing regular follow-ups. This is what you got to do. This, and this, and this. And she's kind of sitting there, and subconsciously, I noticed her sniffling a little bit and everything. Like, here, just go over this real quick, take these recommendations, try to implement it, and let's see once what we can do to, work some of these kinks out. And then that night, when we were at our leadership meeting, the LT, she pulls me aside and she's like, you made her fucking cry, right? I'm like, really? I thought she was just like had allergies or something. She said, no, she took that very personally. Well, I didn't know at the time she was going through a divorce. There's a bitter custody battle for the kids and everything else. So I revisited right away later yet that evening with her and said, hey, I hope you know this is me just giving suggestions. I am not dogging you, even as your first sergeant. I want you to succeed. I will help you do some of this stuff and everything. What do you think you struggle with out of these the top like five things, the five biggest things? Let me help you with this a little bit. So we worked out at the end of AT, second platoon was running like a well-oiled machine, just like first platoon was. And then she just turned into I mean, she did end up getting divorced. They got a settlement, but you know what? I got read into the situation. I had the empathy to understand where she was struggling. I put the extra effort into helping. She was a rock star for the next 4 freaking years. And then she's just been nothing but bam, gets first sergeant, bam, now she's selected for sergeant major. You know, that's got to make a person feel good if you know that you had even this much of a role, because she did it herself. I'm not taking the
Right.
credit for any of that.
Yeah.
She chose to accept that mentoring, and now she's going to be a command or a sergeant major or a command sergeant major. I mean, how awesome is that? I mean, that makes it worthwhile.
That's the
That's
people
just
element,
one of
man.
many
Yeah.
stories. You
Yeah,
know,
no, I mean, but that's the people element that you talk about, especially within the army, because you get good and bad along the way, right? You either learn from the bad, what not to do, and you learn from the good, like, hey, that's the stuff I want to do. And yeah, I've got plenty of those people in my own past, my own history of who I took from, who I didn't want to be like. Um, I was a little different than you. Like, I was one of those people who was just, I don't know. I don't know if I was that. Maybe now, like as I'm older, I could look back on it and be like, a little arrogant. I always wanted I always wanted the responsibility. I always wanted to be in front of people. I always wanted like the opportunity to lead because I just felt like it's what I was good at. I was captain in baseball. I always had those positions growing up. So never shied away from the stuff. I always sought it out, and I think that's cool that you actually do get a chance as you get higher up. Is that you're going to finally have a chance to mentor people into try and guide them into a better place and hopefully let them learn from all the dumb shit that you've done. I mean, it's just like parenting, right? Like you
sure.
got kids, I got like the biggest thing with my daughter going to college is like, please do not do the things that I did the first two
Right.
the first 2 years. Do not do what I did the first 2 years because you're just gonna you're screwing yourself. And I honestly, I hate to say it, but I don't know if I would have made it out of that after the first 2 years of college where I went, just trying to play baseball and didn't take the school side of it seriously. But without 9/11, as awful as that was for the country, like without that for me personally, I don't know if I would have ever dug myself out of the hole I put myself in with college, right?
Right.
Like, the army was what saved me. And I'm not. There's a million stories of dudes like that. Like, and I put tons of those people in when I was recruiting. Like, hey, the army saved these fucking people, and that's the biggest.
Right.
That's probably the coolest thing. Like, drill sergeant was one thing, but just seeing from the recruiting side, like getting people that hit you back up, and you see where they're at now. Like, and I got one like just made E6, just got deployed. One that's just finished selection, doing it in the reverse way, like did the selection, did airborne, and now is going to Ranger. Like that's fucking. It's just cool to
Right.
see like that shit, and they're still telling me.
Yeah, for sure.
And so you feel like, hey, okay, like I was honest with this dude enough for he trusts me enough to keep me informed on what he's doing. He didn't just like join and say free. And that goes back. Like this is just an army thing in general. If like you're good at what you do, I still to this day talk to my recruiter. He's a retired CW4, I think, at this point, but he's
Yeah.
there in the Pentagon doing some shit from a civilian side. But I still talk to him. He was Staff Sergeant Thomas to me. He was who I wanted to be. He was a 21-year-old E5. He was a 23-year-old E6. He was a drill sergeant before he was a recruiter. Like I did everything in his path. I thought that dude was fucking awesome. I was like, holy shit, this dude's great. Now he was a tanker, which whatever. But
Right.
I didn't do that part, like, because you, you
Right.
can't, you can't be a tanker in reserves. That's how I joined initially. But yeah, like, so I think it's great that you have to have examples of people to either follow or to avoid. And the Army does a
Yeah.
great job of that.
Well, and that's a great segue into one of my next topics is the mill Twitter versus our segment in the divide. And so recently, there's been a lot of dust ups and everything because we have a very popular account, that's a lieutenant colonel that basically,
I already know where we're
works for,
going.
where we're going. And then you've got the other side that was the prominent presence in mill Twitter,
Yeah.
I mean, previous administration and everything. I've obviously had my dust ups with all of them. Most of them have me blocked and everything else. Well, here's the thing with me. I do definitely do my shit and everything else. But see, I'm not a cookie cutter type of person. I take each individual interaction on its own merits. And this is going to be an interesting story for you. So one person that I rarely agree with, but have always tried to somewhat be cordial to, but did really get into it with them a couple months ago. Um, and I'm talking about Brad Duplessis, right? Um,
Think he's
here
blocked.
about a
Let me check.
here about a month ago or whatever, they had a concerted effort. And yes, am I going to disagree with Brad? Probably 70 or 75% of the time, yes. But here's the thing of it is,
Brad Duplessis has blocked you.
right. Yeah, that's a lot of us. That's a lot of us, right? And here about a month ago, they went and they blasted him. There was a couple articles in everything else. And here's the thing: the truth is the truth, no matter who speaks it. Every now and then, Brad will say things that are true. See, and he does have a lot of knowledge. He retired as a full bird colonel. So
Mhm.
I get to looking and I get to reading through this rebuttal of the thing he wrote on that War on the Rocks article and
Yeah.
everything that was going after him, kind of showing him. I'm like, wait a minute. So this says he's a battalion coach in his job on this contracted company. I'm like, wait, Brad is down at the battalion level, which means he's teaching MDMP. That's
Right.
not political. He's not hurting anything. And God only knows, um, through my experience that having doctrinal training teams come through at the battalion and the brigade level, that these young staff NCOs and staff officers definitely need to do a better job at MDMP, especially mission analysis brief. Uh, the I mean, I've seen so many times where part of the mission analysis brief, once you get rolling through the S2 portion of it and all that other stuff, the commander wants to know what his combat power is. He doesn't want to see 6 slides somebody copied out of GCSS Army that shows we have 572 LMTVs, we have 220 Humvees, and we have 18 fuel tankers. Okay, how does that translate to combat power? Crickets. And it's funny because I was always the guy that sat there and told that young,
How many of those are
WO1,
deadlined right
TW2,
now?
it's like, that's not combat power. All you're putting is raw numbers. Commander needs what? Combat power. Master Sergeant, I got this. Okay. All right. Gets into the briefing. Doctoral training team actually stops mission analysis briefing. It's like, why don't we just go ahead and stop here? That's not combat power. I'll explain what combat power is. Then the BC looks over and he's like, Master Sergeant, what do you think? I said, well, I said at the beginning, this whole thing is ass and you throw the whole thing away and start over. And then all the staff is like, just mad as hell. Me being me, I'm going to say it. And Sergeant Major's laughing. BC's trying not to laugh, but he knows the product that was put up there in try number 1 was ass, and that we're going to do it all over again. And it's it finally took the doctoral training team to step in and say, hey, if you'd shut the fuck up and listen to people that know what the BC is actually looking for and what's needed in this, you wouldn't be in this situation right now, redoing all your shit until 11 o'clock at night. That's where, and so I actually made a post on Facebook and I said, look, everybody is jumping up and down. Brad just got, put in his place, whatever, and everything. But I said, here's the thing. People are trying to go after his job, his career. I said,
that's retarded.
I'm gonna do the most unexpected thing here. I'm actually gonna stick up for Brad, and I'm just gonna tell you right now, I don't think it's very fair for any of you to try to headhunt Brad. And I had people in my inbox and everything, people that I respect and still respect to this day, say, this effer tried to go after me, tried to get me canceled, tried to get me fired and everything else. It's karma, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, but I said, wait till the pendulum swings the other way.
Yeah.
They're going to come back after all of us again and try to find out where we work, what we do. Brad, at the end of the day, put out an article that I don't necessarily agree with, but he has the right to say his opinion. He's not in a position, even if it is taxpayer funded, that's actually, politically influencing anything. He's teaching MDMP, and he's probably really, really good at it. As a colonel, he probably had a lot of failures within. And MDMP is more important in the BSB than just about anywhere else, because if that support function, if your sustainment fails, your entire brigade fails. The fact that you have somebody that does have the knowledge and has probably experienced successes and catastrophic failures out of the sustainment arena, being able to go and mentor those young people, those young officers, those young NCOs and everything, more power to him. I mean, I'm still probably not going to agree with him, but do I think he deserves to get fired from his job? I mean, he's still trying to put food on his family's table. I just seen where he had a daughter graduate from Harvard dentistry. I mean, there's bills to be paid, and as long as he's doing something productive to help, get people from a technical aspect where they need to be in terms of war fighting, he ain't hurting nothing. And I mean, a lot of people are like, well, all you've done over the past 3 years, go head to head with Brad. I'm like, yeah, but I take each thing that's posted on an individual basis. I read it, I analyze it. If I agree with it, I agree with it. If I don't, I don't. I'll say something. And that's the thing. People used to me only saying something if I disagree. Well, this particular time, I was like, why don't you let Brad alone for a minute here? Because what is going to happen in 3 years if the pendulum swings? Are you ready for everybody to come headhunt you and make you lose your job? I'll bet you're not. Leave Brad alone if he ain't doing nothing.
That
And
goes
this is
back
hard.
to,
A lot of people don't like him, but you don't have to like him to understand that he has the right to say what he wants to say. And we have the right to respond and tell him he's full of shit if that happens to be the case on that particular thing that he posts. Or you can agree with him if you want, but we got to stop this going after people, trying to get people fired stuff. I mean, within the military community, I'm just not down with it no more. I never was, you know.
Yeah, but
But
that goes
all I
back to
can,
what we were talking about earlier, where it's just like this is kind of where we're at with the country. And it's not just it doesn't just start and stop with the military. We're just one aspect of it. It's probably, I would say, gotten a little better from the, private sector side because
yeah,
you just don't have that. You don't have the audacity on the private sector side from the right. It's just like, all right, we understand. Say what you got to say, do what you got to do. We're not coming after you. We're not trying to do that. The left, they're the opposite. They will try. And you're right. If 3 years from now or 2 years from now, whatever it fucking is, if it's somebody else in power, then things are probably gonna be different. But that's what the left does. So I'm not saying that's right or wrong.
yeah,
I just don't feel bad when it does happen because we just went through this, and from the mill Twitter
yeah.
side especially, and that's why I've like completely just removed myself from it. I just see things fourth and fifth person at this point. I try to avoid all of those people because none of it really interests me at this point. It just doesn't.
No, and I agree. And you're probably right. The left is still going to do it regardless
Yeah,
of whether we show any kind of
absolutely.
grace or goodwill towards our fellow man. But I still, I guess, me personally, tried. I believe in trying, even though we're all human and we all have failures, right? And
Mhm.
none of us are perfect. I believe in making an attempt to do the right things for the right
Yeah, you're a
reason.
good dude,
And
man.
I
Like
just,
I know that. That's
and
why I
I
like you.
just thought in that aspect, let's cut Brad a little slack.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to see Brad Duplessis get fired for just being honest about how he really feels. Because here's the thing: I've had it done to me. I've had that public affairs office called multiple times. I've had people legitimately try to get me kicked out when
Yeah,
I was
no, I've
still in
seen
union.
it. I mean, it's happened to
Yeah,
mutuals of ours. I've
and,
watched them
and
go through this shit. Like, remember what was that fuck Dunlap? What was that dude? Jason Dunlap? Remember that fucker?
that guy has just got
I
all
mean, he
kinds of
got
issues.
literally like
But
some of the best people having to stand in front of their commanders for just being,
yeah,
just having thoughts opposite of him. That's it.
in
Not
my
like
case,
going on. Yeah, like, and I
in
don't.
my case, go ahead.
It's
So I'm sorry.
no, no, you're fine. I wish I had a heater like you got right now. I just can't take the laptop outside. But it's um, I do. I just, you know what? I think we're probably going to come from it from a different approach. I respect kind of where you're at. Like, an individual specifically that you're talking about doesn't deserve whatever. Fine. But I do think like it's like you said, we're going to have the pendulum switch and it's going to swing back. But while it's on this side, I don't care what happens to those people. And that's kind of a problem for me as well, because that's where we're at as a
Yeah,
country, and that's not sustainable either way. Like, we don't have a lot of unification, right? I mean, you just talk, look go back to what we started with, meritocracy, right? Why is that a
yes,
problem? It's the messenger. They don't like President Trump. So no matter what he
yeah,
does, it's never going to be greeted with any sort of positivity. And I get it. I understand President Trump. I get there's things that he does that are unpopular with his base and with everyone. I get his style. I get how he does things in public that are different behind closed doors. But I mean, you just look at the things that it doesn't matter what he does. It's going to be automatically greeted with this is bad.
hmm
Here's why. Cleaning up DC, fixing the monuments, fixing the fountains, just fixing crime. Anything that anyone could logically and realistically agree on is a good thing because it originates from President Trump. We just can't accept it. We just have to put up some sort of obstacle and try to go after it and make it sound like it's a bad thing. Like
right,
that's fucking stupid because at some point you're right. There's going to be another Democrat president and this is all going to flip. And we're all going to go back to the same fucking thing of just like, "Oh, we don't like this guy now." But the press and everybody else is going to be like, "Oh no, this is the greatest thing ever and here's why." It's the exact opposite. And
yeah. And we
that's just
definitely
not
don't have the
sustainable. That's not sustainable as a nation. Like, look, I know we're about to celebrate our 250th, but I mean, like, what are we doing? Where it's just like we just can't admit that we have different opinions, different views, and they should be all. You should. You should take them in equally and not just from default, one is bad, default, one is good, and that's both sides. Because if we're
Yeah,
going to just
and
default one is bad, one is good, we're never going to get anywhere.
that's the whole thing. The funny thing of it is, people look at the history of the nation, and we have all, everybody's like, well, it didn't used to be this way. We used to all, be more united. Really? We didn't. Ever since the Revolutionary War, there was very stark opposition.
Yeah.
It's just that
There's more respect
when,
though. Like you're right. It was
yes,
constantly everybody had to, but they respected it.
yeah, when the decision was made, like let's just bring up the Iran thing, and
Yeah, I
for
was
the
going to get to
record,
that with you, so let's do it now.
I don't think we can do enough to Iran. Now, here's where I think, and I'm going to break off on a minor context segue here, real quick. Um, I think the biggest failure to date in Iran was the fact that we saw what 8 months ago, or roughly in that time frame, or whatever, there was an uprising in Iran.
Yeah.
They slaughtered 35 to 40,000 of their own people when they were trying to revolt against their government. I think we banked on the fact that once we went in and we killed the Ayatollah, we
They would
killed
do it
a
again, and they
lot
do
of
it.
the
Yeah.
senior leaders. They would rise up again.
Yeah.
That was the biggest gamble that failed on us, is they
Yeah.
haven't risen up yet. And our opportunity was when they were uprising. That's when we should have
Yeah.
struck and helped them out, and we
I
didn't.
agree.
We
If we were going to
misjudged
do
that.
it, we should have probably done it then. But that's, I mean,
So
that goes to just like what we saw from Joe Kent, like what he said. Like, I don't think that President Trump really wanted to do this. He was kind of coerced into doing it. And now look at the
yeah,
response. Like, look where we're at. He doesn't want to continue this, but we're here. And you got to get out of it one way or the other. And you can't be afraid to just cut sling load and fucking let that whole thing be that whole thing over there. We don't have to be fucking involved with that. Like
yeah.
what does that do for us? Honestly,
There
like
was
what does that do for us?
there was a concept that they do overthrow the regime. They reinstall Reza
The
Pahlavi
Shah, yeah.
to
Where that
the
whatever happened to
Shah.
this fucking Shah? Remember, that dude's gone quiet. I haven't seen a fucking word out of that dude in two
Yeah,
months.
yeah, exactly, exactly. It's almost like the whole concept or the whole goal got abandoned, and that's where I've got people like there's a retired chief warrant officer on their Tanner Port that I started following that followed me. We probably don't agree on a decent amount of things, but he's got a point. He's like, why didn't we establish a clear goal at the beginning of this? And the goal was the actually getting rid of the regime, because and I'm just going to say, on a personal aspect, there's no amount of these fucks that we could kill that's going to be
Right.
enough to make up for
Yeah.
the EMPs that killed your friends, your brothers and sisters, and mine with all
Mhm.
those IEDs in Iraq. That we
And
both
if that's what we were gonna
had.
do, then we should have done that when it was fucking happening to us. Expand the
Exactly
fucking thing then while we were all there. Let's go fucking do it. But
right.
now you want to do it
But
now? Like, come on, man. Well, like,
but you do have a very valid point. It's like everybody's focused on the messenger, not the message anymore.
yep.
And Trump, and I can see why he's not likable. He is not stoic. He's not
No.
an eloquent
Only when he
speaker.
wants to be. Only when he wants
He
to be.
does,
He's
yeah, he does juvenile shit. I
yep.
mean, some of it's funny, some of it's not.
Hmm.
And uh, I go after Tammy Duckworth a lot and everything,
Yep.
which is also very well documented. Um, why in the fuck do we have somebody that's absolutely incompetent, that flew when she knew damn well where not to fly, got shot down, uh, uh, it, I mean, wounded herself and all of her crew and everything. How do you go from a captain? Usually, when you get medically retired, you get one
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 rank. Yeah.
rank above,
Yeah.
right? How do you go from a captain to lieutenant colonel? Well, the Democrats took her. They realized they had a prop. They fucking got her all the way up to lieutenant colonel. They freaking pushed her around and paddled her around with her stubs flopping and everything, just so she can sit on some fucking committee flapping her stabs. You're not qualified. You're not qualified, bitch. What are you qualified to do other than fuck shit up? I'm so tired of the shit. Shut the fuck up, Tammy Duckworth.
Yeah. She's
Nobody wants to hear anything that comes out of your mouth.
but
You're
she's
not
been
qualified to talk
sold.
about
She's been
Israel.
sold to people as if like she was some fucking heroic pilot. When it's like it's what you just said. It's the exact opposite. It's actually incompetency is why she is where she is today. But because
If
she
if
has
I could
the commissioned military background and survived, she's a war hero.
if I could pay the
Not a
money,
fucking war hero. You're a fucking war retard. You
and
you
yeah,
removed your own limbs by your own actions. You are responsible for your own fucking handicap. You didn't do it in some blaze of a glory where you fucking took out the enemy and just they got you too. You fucking literally fucked yourself up for life. And like you just said, that the Democrats prop this person up as to be something that's like she's the model, and they fucking installed her as a fucking senator. She's there forever. She's never going anywhere. Like she's gonna literally be there for our
yeah, for
entire
sure.
lives, bro. Or at least her entire
Yep.
life. She's older than well, she's not much older, but she's older than us for sure. But yeah, like we don't even have people on the left to look up to.
They're not even serious people.
It's just wild to me. Like
I mean,
there's no normalcy in that party anymore. It's all extreme. Everything is extreme on the left, and it's all just like let's just get into this fucking clown, this Graham Plattner dude.
oh, what a
They just
nightmare.
embrace it. They don't even care anymore. The motherfucker, they've spent 8, almost 10 years actually calling Trump a fucking Nazi. Trump is Hitler. You have a guy who literally has a Nazi tattoo.
Yeah,
He's
the
gonna be your
Totenkopf
fucking
deathbed,
nominee for senator in was it Maine? And they're just like, well, I mean, if he had a Jewish tattoo, that would be a problem because then he'd be for genocide.
right?
It's like, what the fuck
Right?
is wrong with you fucking people? Like they don't, nothing matters to them. It's just power and that's it. And whoever can be the one that they can coalesce behind, it doesn't matter how fucked up their views are. The dude is a stated communist. Like, what's more disqualifying in the entire arc of American history than being a fucking communist? And it's just like, he's us. Let's go, Graham. He's gonna
Yeah.
take it back from the oligarchy. He's sitting up there with Bernie Sanders. He doesn't even know who the fuck Bernie Sanders is. He just knows he has to stand on the stage with him. It's like, what are we even doing as a fucking country anymore? And that's
Well, and
Maine. That's supposed to be like what are we fucking doing?
yeah,
This fucking
that's the
wild.
state of Joshua Chamberlain. You know, this was fucking Maine. I deployed to Iraq with 2 platoons from Maine, 2 platoons from the state of Washington, and 2 platoons from Iowa in a super maintenance company that did everything except maintenance once we got over there, once we fell under 10th Mountain Division.
Classic. Classic.
And our call sign for our talk was Chamberlain Talk and everything. And Colonel Snow, the commander of 10th Mountain, when we first got there for about a month, we were under the 256 mechanized out of Louisiana, who set the world record for the amount of Article 15s and a waiting list for people to go do their 30 days in the brig at Camp Arifjan and everything. You
Nice.
want to talk about the dirty South?
Congratulations, man. That's awesome.
So when it came and they changed Camp Tigerland to Camp Liberty, and the 10th Mountain took over and everything. We had our little freaking town hall, whatever, with Colonel Snow, and he said, yeah, we're going to have you guys be Chamberlain Talk and everything. The headquarters is from Maine. You know, Joshua Chamberlain, this stoic and indeservedly so, you know, Civil War Union hero and stuff like that. It was a matter of pride to these guys. And now, just because there's a fucking a capital D in parentheses slapped behind this fucking Marxist,
Yeah.
he's probably going to win the goddamn election
Yeah.
too. That's what's
Yeah.
most
Because look who he's
mind-boggling.
running against. Like,
Yeah,
Republicans once
and
again have done it to themselves.
I will maintain to this day the biggest threat to the United States of America, either surviving or falling, is the creeping socialism, the Marxist ideology, and
I
this
thought
is
you were
where
going to
you
say the
start.
Republican Party, but either way, you're probably right.
Well, the rhinos are fucking worthless too. Don't even get me started on the Republicans, but um, the Marxist ideology, and it's so plain and out there. But when you don't have the media on your side, you have a
Yep.
dishonest media that's Marxist themselves, and then uh, just the fact of how they've explained away for everything for Graham Plattner and how they're going to push it forward just shows how much they just desire communism,
Hmm.
and they're going to push it through. I don't think we can vote our way out of this.
Well, I don't either. But
That's
that
the
but
sad
let's
part.
go back to Grant. Do you think if like what do you think the actual response and reaction would have been if Graham Plattner was trying to run against the Republican? Like if he was a Republican and had this, just you wouldn't even know who this guy was because he'd already been buried and destroyed by now.
Oh yeah, I mean, he would have been
But
destroyed on day one.
he's a fucking avowed communist, like you said. He's a fucking stated Marxist. Like, oh well, he doesn't have a Jewish tattoo, so he's not for genocide. That's fucking like these
It's the
people.
craziest shit. I mean, we
I
are in a
get what you're saying
bizarro
though.
world
Like you can't
timeline.
vote your way out of this, but it's also like, how do you share a country with people like this? Like because that's what we have to do ultimately. Like, I don't. You and I both like none of us want to have the fucking ultimate, I guess, response to any of this, which would be back to a return to bloodshed within our own country. We don't want that. But
No.
you're they're constantly pushing and forcing the most extreme on just normal fucking people. And at some point, normal people are going to push back.
Well, and the most fucked up thing of it is it's almost like calling the grass pink and the sky green, and then trying to say that this is normal. You need to accept it because it's my view, and
No,
I have the moral high ground.
no.
They're literally trying to push us all with having the position of moral authority and a moral high ground when it's the exact opposite. Anybody with a brain can see it's the exact opposite of morality. It's degeneracy, but
Mhm.
they're going to force feed it, and there we push back on social media to a certain extent. People push back, on this and saying this is the exact opposite of reality. The grass is in fact not pink, and then and the sky is in fact not green. Well, you're a fucking racist. And you're an enablest, and you're a misogynist, and you're a bigot, and everything. If you don't accept my worldviews and stuff, it's like, how do you win with this kind of mentality? I mean, sanity has left the building. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And it's left the building in favor of knowing that if they can just repeat the same lies over and over and over again, impressionable people that are not willing to research are going to eventually believe it because they've heard it often enough, and they're going to fall in line, and they're going to support it. It's just disheartening. We didn't fight for this.
Well, my only pushback to that will be I think what you're highlighting is kind of restricted. It's age restricted, right? I would say it's age restricted to us and above because the younger generation they don't pay attention to any of this fucking shit. They do their own research. They're very
Right.
independent. They've grown up with fucking mass media. They don't give a fuck about legacy media because they don't read newspapers. They never did. They don't watch
Yeah.
cable news. They never did. Like we all know that shit's just all fucking doesn't matter partisan one way or the other. It's all fucking propaganda. Um, so that's why I think like this Gen Alpha, Gen Z, whatever the fuck you want to call these people, they are going to surprise the fuck out of us because you and I are going to still be alive. We're going to be old. We're going to be at the end. But I think those people are going to really surprise us as a whole because I think they see through a lot of this fucking bullshit.
They do. So um, my son next year graduates with his teaching degree in
Piano, right? Just got the fucking piano.
yeah, just
That's
got the
fucking awesome,
piano
man.
music education degree.
Yeah, that's cool,
And
man.
I watched from in junior high where he was very much in tune with all the leftist thing. Well, I'm an ally with LGBT and all this other stuff, and he's not necessarily not anymore, but him and all of his classmates, I saw a stark turn when they started realizing the bullshit they were fed.
Yep.
A lot of them have even went and joined the young Republicans, and that's not necessarily a great thing because the Republicans are just as bad as the Democrats. We need to fix that fucking shit too. That's a whole different podcast
Yeah.
on what's wrong with the goddamn Republicans. But just in terms of a liberal versus conservative mentality and being able to see bullshit, recognize it, and reject it, by and large, I have a lot of faith in his generation
Yeah.
because
Good.
he said I'll never vote for these freaking whack jobs because you know what? As soon as him or any of his buddies, and there's been hundreds of them, fell out of lockstep with the group think, they turned on him like a pack of vicious hyenas.
Mm.
And they all experienced that. And then they're like, whoa, I've done nothing but for the past 2, 3 years, whatever, sit here and support you. But as soon as I disagree with you on one thing, you just tried to freaking group think attack me.
Yep.
Fuck you.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's that whole generation has experienced that. They're wisening up to it.
Yep. And they've
And
been
I
also
do think,
they're the same ones who've been told like, oh, everything's beautiful. You're beautiful. But it comes down to like I take that I always use that as an example when it comes to ideology, it comes to whatever. It's like just because you beat someone over the head with something doesn't make it fucking true because at some point within
right,
themselves they can recognize reality versus message. Just like you can be very honest with yourself. This goes through history. What is beauty? Maybe you can't define it, but you know it when you see it. You can't just
right,
say everything's fucking beautiful because it's not. You know beauty when you see it. That's the point. You can't just tell everybody, oh, everybody's great at. No, you're not. Let's go to music. I'll guarantee you right now, Rob, you're a better musician than me, right? But I can't just sit here and be like, oh, Rob and I are great musicians. I'm not a great fucking musician. You're better than me at music. Like that, like no one wants to just accept the fact that there are people who are better than them at everything,
right.
something.
Yeah,
We don't just get along. Everybody's great at some. No, you're not. Maybe you are. Maybe you lean into your talent. I got it. But don't try and just push everyone into a blob of everyone's great at everything and everyone's perfect and wonderful. No, you're fucking not. You're just not.
right.
Not
Yeah,
everyone's beautiful. Just because you're God, that gets me the whole fucking oh, your body, love your body. No, make your fucking body better if you're unhealthy. Like, what the fuck is this
yeah,
love your body bullshit? Give me a fucking break. Get in fucking shape, fatty, and stay off those Ozempic and the drugs. That shit ain't gonna help you either. It just
yes,
people need to be honest with each other and stop with the fucking forced lies of bullshit. And it goes back to what your son. He's hearing something that he knows innately. Maybe he doesn't know why or whatever, but he knows it doesn't sound right. He's like, wait a minute, that's wrong. Because
yep,
ultimately, within our core, I think people know something when it's right or when it's fucking wrong. If you're a good person, you know when something's right or wrong. Now, granted, you learn along the way, whether it's religious values from your parents or whatever, you learn, and that, as you said, it develops those things. But you know that's not beauty. That's fucked up. That's not right. That's
yeah,
not real. And that's where I'm thinking we're going to get to at some point. Because right now, our generation, yes, and the ones above us, they're still very influenced by the legacy bullshit. But the new ones, we're going to be all right, I think.
yeah.
Okay.
I agree. And you know, this kind of ties in, but kind of not. When that very first transgender briefing came out, it was in 2016. It was my first year being a first sergeant. And I had three different captains over 6 years and everything. The first one, when he seen that, he's like, I'm supposed to deliver this briefing. I am not doing it. You need to do it. Good luck. And so I get to that one slide where it's like, and that's the one they keep posting and everything. Dignity and respect, blah, 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 all this stuff. But SMs need to get used to seeing people who may have different genitals than them in the shower. And so we're here. And the cat, I'm not going to say his name, but the captain was standing in the back just shaking his head. I was the first sergeant of a forward support company. We had a very large contingent of females in my company. I would say 35 to 40%.
Mm-hmm.
And that slide popped up. The slide was red. I looked out in the room and I could see the horrified
Yep.
looks
Yep.
on their faces, including the ones that were LGBT,
Yeah. Because they don't
right?
want to deal with the shit either. Like, that's.
And I said, I'm going to pause right here. I said, this is what the slide says. This is what we're supposed to read you. But I'm going to tell you this. As long as Captain X is a commander of this company, and as long as I'm the first sergeant, under no circumstances will my females, you guys sitting right here and right here, be showering with somebody that has the opposite genitalia of them, of you. Can they use your shower? Yes. What the slide doesn't say is time frames.
Right.
I said, as of right now in our organization, there's no known transgenders that are in. I said that's
Hmm.
subject to change, but I said if we should run across a scenario, I will set up times for them to be able to use the facilities unabated and you guys to not feel threatened. I will take care of you as a first sergeant. That assuaged it
Hmm.
for them, but they could see where this was going. I mean, the uncomfortableness is on everybody's faces, no matter how in tune they were. Like I said, even the LGBT, they were more horrified by that than the regular people because they knew the backlash and they didn't want to deal with it and everything. And I was like, and we already have LGBT people in this room right now, I said, and we have found a way that we all support each other, we love each other, we take care of each other, and we make it work. I said, I'm also not going to compromise that or allow any crap, to hurt what's going on here because you guys are good soldiers. I've done a good job of taking care of you. You do a good job of producing results for me. We'll continue doing that and everything. So I said the biggest thing of it is until we get to that bridge and have to cross it, just remember dignity and respect. We've been doing a great job of that so far with what we have. We're going to continue doing it. And if anything changes, we will address it when the time comes. But boy, what an uncomfortable position for any leadership team to be put in because of that kind of shit. And that's just it. We get a
It's
Democrat
forced. It's
like,
not even, it's just forced upon you. Like, oh, hey,
yeah,
this is what you got to go fucking tell. This is what you got to go speak on.
yeah,
It,
and the COVID reversals and making people look like assholes because they tried to enforce what was thought as a lawful order, and then all of a sudden they come back and not. Do they realize the havoc they wreaked on company level, battalion level, command teams, everything else? Nothing loses credibility like having to retract something because it comes back later. It's something y'all knew in your heart was wrong, but you had to fucking do it, otherwise your ass was out because you fucking do your job as part of a command team. And a lot of people are like, well, fuck you. You should have just fucking fallen on the sword and everything. No, I tried to work within the system, protect my people. It wasn't career preservation. It was their career preservation. Fortunately, I had a command within my state that stood right in front of everybody and said, go ahead, make them do the counselings, make them refuse the lawful order, but we're not going to do anything about it. If Big Army wants to do GOMARs and stuff like that, let them fucking do it. I'm sure not gonna. This is coming from the Adjutant General of the state of Iowa at the time. He said, I work for a great boss that's not down with this bullshit and everything. We'll just sign the papers. I don't intend on kicking one single person out. I don't intend on any adverse action. Go ahead and sign the paperwork, file it and everything. But in terms of doing anything, good fucking luck. It's going to take a 4-star or somebody to come into the state and make me do a GOMAR or something on somebody. At least we had that backup. Active
yeah,
duty had no protection
none.
like
Yeah,
what I had. And
yeah.
there you see it.
That's
How
such a
many
fucked up
people's
thing, man. Like it does,
careers,
like,
you know,
yeah. Well, over 8,000, right? Like it's wild to go look back on that time and just to see how bad. Yeah, I mean, as much as the effort's been made to try and get these people back, like how slow, how just there's still so many people in the fucking blob
yeah,
preventing it from being righted because it's like, oh, you didn't go along with our fucking bullshit fucking vaccine or whatever the fuck it was. And it's wild to think like, man, it's almost 6 years. Well, it's more than 6 years ago, but that shit fucking happened, man. Like it
yeah,
fucking
it happened.
happened.
People don't forget that either.
No,
People do
it's
not
fucking
forget that.
wild. It happened. Um, and it's even funnier now because you got all these people coming in now, like they don't gotta take, when you were joining it, there was a time when you were joining, like soldiers were getting anthrax when they were joining. That's not happening with COVID. You don't have to take the fucking COVID vaccine. Like it's not
I
playing
didn't get
reps
the
anymore.
anthrax one. I didn't
Yeah.
get the anthrax one until we were at Moab Station to head to Iraq.
Yeah. Well,
I got every
what year
other
did you
fucking
go?
one. But yeah.
What year did you
Oh
go to
five,
Iraq? Yeah, I got
oh
it.
five.
I got it in '03 at Fort Stewart because we were part of the
Yeah.
fucking Asian bullshit. So like we did.
Yeah. I was on the Sturge, so it
Yeah.
was Fort Bliss. But yeah, everybody got it
Yeah.
at Bliss in oh 05. So.
But it's interesting you say it because like you go back think about how young we were then, and I talked about I don't remember who it was I was talking about. I was like, was there a big pushback against the anthrax vaccine like there was for the COVID shit? And apparently there really was a lot of discussion. It's just we didn't fucking hear about it. Like it wasn't politicized. It
Right.
was just like,
Yeah.
and plus you and I, like, I mean, dude, I was 20 years old, 21 years old. Like I wasn't paying attention to any of that shit. It's very different now because of how politicized everything is. But yeah, I just was curious. Like, hey, I just was soon like, look, I'm at fucking one day. I'm just sitting there in the barracks at Fort Stewart. It's like, hey, we got to go to medical today. We're getting the vaccine.
Yep.
Like, oh, and it's just okay. Like, I wasn't
Yeah.
questioning it. Like, I didn't know any. I was just, this is what I'm here to do. And we're ready. I got to get
Yeah.
to Iraq. We got to start this fucking invasion.
Yeah. It's hard
Yeah.
to believe it was 20 years ago. '05 and '06 is when I deployed. I was
Yeah.
28 when I deployed.
Okay.
In
You're a little
2005,
more
and we
wise
said,
than me for sure.
I had a few years in.
Yeah.
I'd already had basically 10 years in by the time we finally fucking went over there. And it's yeah, it was there's people concerned, but by and large, everybody's like, oh, we got to do this to get over there. Let's get it fucking over with. So you get the vaccine, you get the bandage. Oh, I didn't react. Oh, we're good. All right, let's go. Carry on. Nobody thought at that point in time, because we had a large year long, and it ended up being, basically 15 months of a mission looming in front of us and everything. And then now 20 years later, of being 49, pushing 50, it's like, I wonder what kind of residual effects, if any, is that gonna cut my life short? I mean, I've already lived a very full life. I could kick the bucket tomorrow and I'd be fine with it. But you know,
Yeah, it's
you
it's
do you sit there and you think about stuff like that. It's like, how was it that we were in a position as a society as to where that was fine then? But here's also the thing: that anthrax vaccine had existed for 70 years.
Oh, did it really? Is that true? I didn't know that. Not at
Oh,
all. Yeah, I didn't know that at all. That's crazy.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that wasn't anything new by any stretch of the imagination back then. I think the biggest thing of it was the experimental um, aspect of the COVID vaccine. And you know they would have us, anybody that was objecting before, they'd sign the paper that said they were not going to follow the lawful order. We'd get the battalion surgeon or the state medical officer on the phone, and this is the science behind an mRNA vaccine and or vaccination. And this is what it does. mRNA vaccinations have existed for X amount of years, blah, 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 blah. Well, then it turns out that we got lied to by Fauci, Pfizer, Moderna, and just about all the rest of them, of what kind of science and methodology went behind developing this thing.
Yeah.
So it still wasn't on the up and up. Well, turn around and throw egg in the face of every fucking command team that sat there asking a soldier to do this and then making them sign a statement that they were disobeying a lawful direct order. I mean, could we possibly have gotten set up for failure any fucking heart? I mean, I am resentful about that shit.
Yeah, you should
You
be.
know,
I mean, you should. There's no reason for you to give that up. What's the fucking point? You were lied to.
my
It's
main
it's it's pretty
mission,
well documented, but it's been glossed over because it's unpopular with the people who tried to push it.
my main mission as a first sergeant was I would move heaven and earth and stand in front and be the first person to take bullets for any of my fucking troops. Their well-being was my number one priority. I got lied to in such a good man, and I'm usually good at researching shit and figuring stuff out. My wife was also a nurse. She fell for it.
Yeah, no, the reason I took the fucking vaccine was my mom was a nurse, retired, and my wife, her aunt and uncle worked for Moderna. They said it was great. Perfect. 100%
Right,
safe. Yeah, like they
right.
did the research on all this shit. Like they were like, "This is big for it." And I was like, "All right." And that was the one I don't know which one if you did or not take it, but the one that I took was Moderna.
I took Moderna.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what was offered in our state was Moderna.
Yeah.
So that's
And
the
I did
one
the
I
one- I
got.
did the first two, and that was it. And everything when it was offered any time after that, nope.
Yeah, I never did the boosters or anything like that.
Yep.
After the second
Yeah,
half of it,
that was
that's the
it.
only time I've ever gotten sick from COVID.
Well, that's
Fucking
interesting you say that
ridiculous.
because I know when I got sick from COVID, like I remember I was in California, I was in the Bay Area, right? And I watched at Travis Air Force Base, all these fucking flights coming in and from people from China who they were isolating and sticking at the Breeze Inn on Travis Air Force Base. If you know the Breeze Inn, fences all around it, people out there, fucking Chinese dudes just doing their little fucking loitering laps of, in containment because all these flights were being fucking rerouted to land there instead of going to San Francisco Air Force or San Francisco Airport. Um, I went to an event for the San Francisco Giants, their season ticket event in February.
Right.
A week later, I did a road trip up to Oregon and I got sick at some point, either there or coming back. Now, I was sick and I was over it within a day. Was that COVID? I don't know. But
Mine lasted, I think mine lasted
a
two or
month later,
three.
here's the fun part. The month later, first week of March, I'm grilling. I'm outside grilling, and I can't taste my bourbon.
Ooh, that probably was though. If
So
you
I
lose the
lost my
taste,
senses.
yeah,
Well, so I was like, I let my first sergeant know. I'm like, hey, I can't taste anything. What should I do? He's like, contact Travis Air Force Base, see what the med team says. Because COVID, it had already happened at this point. Like we had shut down. We
yeah.
were the first county. Solano County was the first one to shut down this country. I called them and they're like, well, that's loss of sense of taste. That's not a known symptom of COVID. So, we can't do anything for you. I was like,
It
all right,
is though.
whatever.
I mean,
And after
it
a week,
really
it
is.
was gone. Like I was starting to get pissed off after like 6 days. I'm out there grilling. I can't taste my bourbon. But after a week, it was gone, and I never had anything else. I never had any lung. I never had any of that other shit. Like, never got sick. Never. Like, never had any of the shit that people did with COVID. Um, so yeah, that was a wild fucking time in this country's history, and I really hope we're smart enough to not go back to it. I see
Yeah.
every couple of weeks we get a story of some medical bullshit. It's going on right now with the fucking Ebola shit. Like they're always trying to push the button. They're trying to see if they can do the fucking shit again. And I fucking hope we don't fall for it again. I really do.
I really do too. And that
If
gets back
humans
to
are
that
gonna fucking
entire,
survive, there's nothing out there at this point that's gonna
yes,
ever fucking just wipe the whole planet out. We've been here for a very long fucking time. The
yeah.
strongest are gonna survive. We're gonna be all right.
And when it gets back to that entire leadership doctrine, a bit, and I'm talking all the way up and down the chains on the O side and the NCO side, people need to be more cognizant of the basic fundamentals of leadership competencies. I mean, you got your Army values, where I'm not going to sit here and list them off. Everybody already knows that shit. Um, we've
Loyalty,
already
duty. No.
right. We already talked about empathy and everything. Well, the funny thing of it is, one of the board questions you'll get on any first sergeant or sergeant major board is, name the Army values and which one is most important to you. Which one do you think is most important? Everybody's like, oh, they all are. Well, I finally figured it out after boarding like twice or whatever. Like, and I got the one that hired me or that selected me. I was like, it's honor. Really? That's interesting. Why would you say it's honor? I said,
It's all of
well,
them.
because honor is the one that they all flow through.
Exactly.
I
It's
said,
all of them.
the only evidence you need is when you retire or you get out, your discharge is classified in some terms of honor. Is it dishonorable? Is it honorable? Is it other than honorable? Honor is what they all flow through. Like, yeah, it's like,
Got him. Got
I
him.
got
Won that
on
one.
that one.
Won the board.
So, but hopefully some E7's watching this. It's about to go board for a first sergeant one or whatever.
Oh,
Just
that'd
tell
be
them it's
great.
on.
Yeah. Yeah. Hit
Yeah.
us up for more
For that
more
reason. So,
tips.
but yeah, you know, we have to do a lot better of a job of what is the priority as a leader. What is your job as a leader? The biggest thing, and this was going to be my culminating little, not a speech, but my culminating topic for the night. All the way around the board, people have lost vision of the concept of servant leadership. It's literally right there in the AR, in the ADRP, in the doctrine. It explains what it is. It is the most skipped over thing ever in the history of the fucking modern United States Army. And it manifests itself in the attitudes that you see in the officers, the senior NCOs. Fuck, the junior officers and junior NCOs. If you look up the concept of servant leadership, your position exists. It's there in the creeds. It's in the NCO creed. It's in the officers' creed. You know, no one is more professional than I. But then where does it go in everything? My soldiers' needs will be a priority above my own. All this other stuff. You know, it's almost something like we go through all the rigmarole, the bullshit, the speeches, and everything else. It briefs well, but it's never put into practice. When do you see people? It's truly, that's why people that have the leaders that they really love, it's truly a dime a dozen that people actually put that into practice. You know, I made myself damn unpopular with some battalion XOs, some brigade, staff officers, because I stood up and put the soldiers' best interest when I knew they were purposely getting fucked. And it was done on purpose, and then tried to put the ass pain back on the different staff sections where they belonged and whatever. And I even had an XO at the time. He was an XO. Then he's a full board colonel now. He was the field artillery battalion commander. But the very first interaction we ever had was me straightening around some things that was going on with the fielders. And he's like, well, how do you think it should be? And I'm a new first sergeant 3 months in. I'm like, well, this is what's going to happen by regulation. I cannot bring Hammett fielders out on the gun line, move down and fill you guys. That breaks every fucking rule in the book. We're going to set up a triple RSP. You need to fucking unhook. You need to fucking run these things through at the scheduled time and everything. Well, that puts the ass pain back on the 13 series. Well, sorry. That's the way it's supposed to fucking work. I'll meet you in the middle on some shit. But, these things that you've been just catered to, so these guys can just sit on their fucking ass right up until they're punching around and pulling a lanyard. That shit is not going to happen anymore. You're making my guys run fucking 18-hour, 19-hour fucking days doing shit that is illegal in the first place. You do not take a fucking fielder down the gun line. That breaks every fucking rule in the book, and I wasn't even field artillery. I just knew that. And just stuff like that. But then we ended up developing a bond and a lifelong friendship. And to this day, Colonel Daniels is somebody that will consider a lifelong friend. But being able to honestly have candid discussions like that, yeah, and just say, this is why I'm doing this. My guys have this. Yes, am I transferring some of this ass pain that you just expected, us to just absorb as the FSC back onto your 13 series guys? Yes, I am. But we're going to make it fair in the end as to where it works. It works the right way, and as the right things are done for the right reasons. Leaders forgot how to be servant leaders. Everybody's got an ego. Everybody has an agenda, and everybody forgets who the victim of that ego is. I watched that famous commencement speaker. What was his name? He had 3 doctorate degrees. The larger
Craven.
black fellow.
Oh, the make your bed guy.
Yeah. No, not Admiral McRae. No, he sucks. It was the black guy that his dad never made it past 6th grade, and he was a cook.
Oh shit! I know this one.
But he has one of the greatest commencement speeches of all time, and it talks about servant leadership. It's like, is your servant's towel bigger than your ego? And he said, and I think he quoted Aristotle, that ego is the anesthesia that deadens the pain of stupidity, and pride is the burden of a foolish person. That's one of the truest quotes I've ever heard in my entire life. And as leaders, former leaders, whether we're retired, whether we're still in right now, people need to think about that. Why are you doing the things you're doing? Are you doing the right things for the right reasons? Are you putting your people above you? Is your ego bigger than your servant's towel? These are things I also incorporated into my, farewell speech and everything to my unit. And I got a little bit emotional about it doing it because I knew the guy that was going to be replacing me was in it for about a year. He lasted a whole year and then he retired. He was all about just trying to check that block, going from a master sergeant for many, many years to a first sergeant just so he could do that stuff. And my message to my formation was regardless of what's going on up here, you guys in the past 6 years, we've learned together, we've grown together, we've cried together, we've bled together. You guys know what the fundamentals are to keep this Fox company going, to be the best freaking unit in the brigade like we had been for 5 years running and everything. Don't forget that. You're never at too low of a level to understand the concept of leadership. Impart that upon all the new ones coming in and make sure you hold each person to the left and right of you and up and down accountable. We're all a team, right? And the only way we can grow and be better is remembering what leadership is all about, and it is servant leadership. And that was my culminating point for the evening on this discussion. Is I see so much of this crap out there. We've forgotten what leadership is all about. And the shittiest thing of it is, it's right there in the doctrine. And normally, doctrine sometimes is just dumb, but it's right there, and it's really, really, really good. I've actually read it. I've studied it. It's right there. We don't pay attention to it. It's crazy. I mean, servant leadership is a biblical concept that goes all the way
Yeah.
back to the book of Proverbs, and
Yep.
and you know this, because you've studied this too. This is nothing new to society. This has existed for 10,000 years. You
Yep.
know, and I'm actually impressed the United States Army picked up on this and has that incorporated in ADRP 20 and AR 200-1 or whatever it is. I can't remember off the top of my head all of our leadership doctrine, but it literally describes what servant leadership is. Why is it so hard for commissioned officers, NCOs, and anybody else that's in any kind of leadership position to read this, understand it, and act accordingly?
Well, that's where let me get you right there. You said read this and understand it. And we have been a control F army for a while. And now we're entering into the AI army. And things are going to get very different. Because and this let me try and put this into a context that it won't sound as bad as it really is. So let's just say at one point in my life in the army, uh, I had a section who had a first lieutenant who believed she, oh, I already messed up. Who believed she did not need to know op orders because that was a quote NCO's job.
Oh boy.
The op order.
Oh no.
Right? Now that goes back to what
Oh,
I was saying. Like,
all
why
right.
do we not understand this? It's like we are a control F army. We've been a control F army for a while. Like people don't read things. They know how to get to them. You and I could probably have like, did you go to PLDC?
Yeah, it when I went through, and I'm sorry, I'm old as fuck, but yes, it was PLDC, 1999, Camp Shelby,
Really?
Hattiesburg, Mississippi, is where I went.
Okay, so I
Yep,
went to Camp Shelby for PLDC as well. And you know what we had?
really?
We had the fucking physical cellophane wrapped
Yes,
doctrines, all the books, the actual leadership books on the
yes,
table. You had to go through them. You had
yes,
to
for sure.
read
Yep,
them. You had to actually read them. You had to put sticky notes. You had to highlight things. Now it's all control F because all those pubs and those regs, they're
right.
all on your desktop. Just open them up for the
Yep.
test. Just control F to get to the answer. You're not learning anything at that point. You're just learning how to find this. You're just learning how to find something. But you don't actually
Or if
understand
that's
the
not the
context. You
truth,
don't understand why that's there. You don't read it. You just find where it's at in the fucking page and put it on a fucking test question. You're not
or if
learning.
that's not the
You're
truth,
not
I
in,
don't know what is.
yeah. It's just, but that's where we're at, man. And that's why the AI is going to make it even more interesting because now fucking AI is going to spit out shit that they can just research through like instantly. Like I love AI. It's great. I'm curious at what type of leaders it's going to produce. We're looking at Rob's sky. He's got a nice sky out there at the moment. He is muted. Uh, I guess we'll bring the cat on. Hey, Frank, come here, bud.
Sorry about that. Yep.
No worries. Yeah, so yeah, that's kind of where we're at, man. While you burn that heater, it's time to do the final transition of the night. Yeah, this is
For
always
sure. Yeah.
this always this is interesting because I remember our conversation this time last year and things went a very different route from your prediction. So let's get into some NFC North football, my friend.
Yep. Well, the only thing that I have to say is I cannot believe that the Vikings won 9 games with zero quarterback play all year. All I got to say
Coaching
is I'm not
defense,
even going
man.
to make
Like I'll give you the credit. You have a great coach, but yeah, I'm with you.
man. Ed McCarthy. Oh God,
Yeah,
I
well,
was
no,
so
hold on.
mad.
Well, hold on, because that I just want to know your thoughts on Kyler Murray. Like, who's going to be the quarterback in Minnesota?
So it's definitely going to be Kyler Murray.
Really? You think
I
so? You
think
think
that
he's the
that
starter
decision
by default? He's the starter.
by default, yeah. And it's
Wow.
everything that I've seen from all the beat writers, and I look at this stuff every day because I do my NFL podcast every
Yeah.
Saturday. Um, it's not even a competition. It is so much
Really?
night
It's
and
not
day.
even a
Uh,
competition.
yeah, Kyler Murray's hitting everybody. McCarthy's just lost in the sauce.
That's wild.
And
That's
if
wild.
Kyler Murray can do anything competent, especially with us beefing up the defensive line with Big Citrus out of Iowa State and Caleb Banks, if he's healed up and healthy, finally getting some beef in the middle, beefing up the linebacker core with Jake Golday. Um, they did bring back Aaron Jones again, which I mean he's on the down. I mean, one of his last years in the NFL, but he can still contribute as a pass catcher out of the backfield. And Kyler Murray can actually avoid some pressure if he can hit Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Juwan Jennings, and TJ Hawkinson in actual games, the way he's doing in OTAs right now, I think we'll be fine. Possible double digit win team in the playoffs. If the quarterback play is dismal again, I think you're sitting somewhere around 7 or 8 wins again. The entire NFC North is unpredictable. It's one of those things where
Yeah,
any of these
it's
four
fair.
teams could stack up in anything. I just got a call today from a Lions super fan that I've known for 10 years. When I got knighted into the VWO back in 2017, him and a couple of other guys were there. He's like, hey, Herman Moore, the
Herman
former
Moore,
Lions stud
wide
wide receiver,
receiver.
and
Yeah.
Scott Mitchell, the former
Scott
Lions quarterback.
Mitchell. Okay, he played for
They,
Miami. I
they,
remember I saw him play in Miami when Marino got
yeah.
hurt as a kid.
So they have a podcast, and they were looking for
Oh,
a
really?
Vikings fan and a Packers fan to come on. They happened to see my stuff on the Huddle Network, and they're like, do you know this guy?" He's like, "Oh, I've known Rocker for several years, so it sounds like I might actually be going on a
Oh,
podcast
nice, man. Good for you.
with these
That's
guys."
awesome.
I remember way back in the day, I used to always draft Herman Moore in my fantasy leagues when I try and draft Randy Moss and everything else.
Hey,
And like,
Herman Moore was the
yeah,
dude and Tecmo Bowl. He was the main receiver. He was the Lions.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So that's an awesome opportunity. But
Yeah,
it's
no,
like,
that's cool,
I'll
man.
tell them the same thing, that it is so wide open in the North. But when's the last time that all four teams in the NFC North had a winning or at least tied record for winning? I mean, it's a good division.
Well,
It's
I
going to
would
be
say the
wide
other
open.
thing, like it's kind of wild because I've never been a huge Kyler Murray fan. Like I liked what he did in college at Oklahoma. I just thought he's too
Right.
small. I just think he's too small, to be honest, right? And he did some good things in Arizona, but he was ultimately just kind of I think he was victim to himself. I feel like he took his college habits to the NFL, and that's not going to
Yeah.
work. Like when you're the best player in the planet in college, yeah, you can do that shit. When you get to the NFL, everybody's a great athlete. So hopefully for him and for you as a Vikings fan, like he's matured and grown up because there's been a lot of
Yeah.
stories about his practice habits and things like that when he was in
Right.
Arizona. But that's Arizona. So now he's in Minnesota. But what I was going to say is like, especially after this second year and just seeing stuff for Caleb Williams, seeing another year of who's the fucking Packers quarterback? Jordan, what the fuck's his name?
Jordan Love.
Jordan Love.
It's
Thank
Jordan
you.
Love.
Okay.
Yep.
The
The
NFC North,
Lions got
arguably,
Goff. Yeah.
the NFC North arguably has the four best quarterbacks in any division. Like like if you
Yeah.
think about what Kyler Murray did in Arizona before he got to Minnesota. Then you got Jordan Love, Caleb Williams after his last year, and then fucking who's the fucking Lions quarterback? I can't think of
Jared
shit.
Goff.
Right? Yeah, you
Jared
got
Goff.
Jared
Yeah.
Goff. right? Jared Goff's played
and
in a Super Bowl. Like this division, as you said, I don't know who's going to fucking win it this year. I would love
yeah,
to say it's the Bears definitively, but you don't know because the NFL is a year-to-year league, and now
right,
the Vikings introduce, and you're telling me from everything you've seen that McCarthy doesn't even have a shot. If that's the case, the Vikings were actually pretty good with McCarthy, despite what he did last year. Yes, he
right,
lost some games, but they were in game. You saw how he brought them back against the Bears in week 1. I was blown out of my fucking mind. Like, how did we lose this
yeah,
fucking game? So he has the talent, but look, I'm a Michigan fan. I watched JJ McCarthy. When he was drafted, I thought it was a reach because I never thought he was a first round talent. I
yeah,
thought he was a good
yeah, yeah.
quarterback, but to put the burden of that as being a first round pick, that's kind of hard. I felt like he needed a few years to learn. He would have benefited greatly from someone like Jordan Love, who went and learned 3 years under Aaron Rodgers. That's what McCarthy
Correct.
needed.
Yep.
McCarthy didn't get that in Minnesota. He was forced into it because they couldn't re-sign. Um,
Darnold.
they couldn't
They
re-sign
couldn't return
Darnold, and then
Darnold.
they also
Yeah.
lost. Who's the dude that went to fucking Indianapolis?
Oh, Daniel Jones.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they lost both of those guys
And
for him to learn under, and he was forced to play when he wasn't ready, and then he gets hurt.
yeah. And
Unfortunate,
that's
man. That
that's
fucking sucks. Like you get hurt. You can't do that in the NFL. You can't get
that's
hurt.
why they fired
Yeah.
Kwesi Adolfo-Mensa as the GM, because what was supposed to happen, as it comes out afterwards, was they were either supposed to retain Darnold or Daniel Jones, and he fucked both of them things up and
Look what
everything. So
Darnold goes
yeah,
on to do. My brother's
wins
a
the Super
Seahawks
Bowl.
fan. He loves it. It's fucking wild.
Oh, that's just the most Minnesota thing to ever happen. Is yeah, the guy we let go goes and wins the Super Bowl. Go fucking figure. But yeah, and it's like the one thing where I would say is a positive with Kyler Murray, he has never been on a team that has been this freaking loaded with this much talent. If he fucks this up,
They have a ton of
you,
offensive talent, man.
it's it's squarely on him.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, JJ McCarthy is improving, but he's improving about the rate that you would think he was going to, from coming from that system in Michigan, which you're very familiar
Yeah.
with. And me being a Hawkeyes fan, obviously we play Michigan every year.
Hey, we got your
I'm
punter
familiar
in
with that
Chicago.
system.
You probably like that, right?
Right. Yeah.
We have your
Well,
punter.
Logan Jones, God dang it. I between the Bears grabbing Logan Jones and then the Steelers getting
That's right. We got your center. We're ready to go, baby.
the Steelers getting Dunker or Jennings Dunker really pissed me off, because there was one pick right before we could have gotten him too. I was on my way back from New York when Elijah performed at Carnegie Hall and everything, and so I'm watching the draft in the car. I'm like, he's right there. All the Steelers have to do is not pick Jennings Dunker, and we're taking it. And what they do, they picked him. Like, God, I hate the Steelers. But no, it's yeah, this is going to be a fun year. I'll
Yeah.
tell you a story. The last two times that the Chicago Bears have beat the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota, the first time was when we had Josh Dobbs as a
Joshua
quarterback.
Dobbs, yeah. And he
I brought
actually
my
played
daughter.
really good against the Bears too. Like he
I
threw
know.
like 3 touchdowns, I think. Like
Yeah, I
he's
brought my daughter up for her first game. We ended up losing. Last year, the second time in recent history we've lost to the Bears at US Bank Stadium, I brought my wife up to her first game,
now it sounds
and
like you don't need to
we
bring any
couldn't
women with
cover a
you.
kickoff. We couldn't cover a kickoff.
That's
With
right.
50
That
seconds
happened.
left, they
That's
ran it
all it
back,
came
and
down
we ended
to.
up losing.
The kickoff to the 50, one Caleb Williams pass, field goal.
It's
Game.
like,
Cairo
gosh,
Santos win.
I need
Yeah.
to
I
stop
know
bringing
where
my
I
family
was.
to the.
I remember where I was on that Cairo Santos kick. I was in a pool. It was great. I was watching on my phone.
I was like, I gotta stop bringing family members to games, man. I'm
Yeah,
the
you
bad
do.
luck
No, that's
curse
right.
here.
Like you gotta understand. You gotta recognize what the gods are telling you. Listen
Yep.
to listen to the gods. I'm
No,
curious. Go
one
ahead.
positive thing, we're opening up the season against the Packers. They're not going to have Micah Parsons for the first 4 or 5 weeks. I'm not sure when
Yeah.
you guys are playing them first,
No, the
but
Bears play him in the middle of the season this year. So
yeah. So I mean, we did get a stretch or a stroke of luck there. Not saying that I'm going to take pride in beating a depleted Packers team, because I hate it when we have like 4 or 5 guys on an injury. Oh, well, we beat you. Yeah, well, you beat like half of our fucking team was on IR. So it's
look,
like,
I'm the opposite. I don't
fuck
care. As
off.
long as I beat the Packers, I don't give a shit. Like the fucking season doesn't matter. Go the Bears can go 2-15 as long as both wins are against the Packers. It's a dub for me. I'm good.
Right.
And I'll be honest, like especially watching them in the playoffs. because what Caleb Williams is, he just has a different fucking gene. His DNA is different. He's built for comebacks and spectacular shit. The first 58 minutes can be hard to watch sometimes, but you just know if it
right?
comes down to you just know if he gets the ball at the end, you feel pretty good. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with struggling the first 58 minutes. I think it's the opposite with Jordan Love. I think the first 58 minutes of Jordan Love, he's really damn good. But when it
Yeah,
counts, I haven't seen Jordan Love do anything when it counts. Two playoff exits, Bears this last year, Cowboys the year before. And it also seems like to me, and let me know if you think this when you see it, he's always smiley after it. Like it seems like it doesn't bother him that he just fucking lost or he just threw an interception to the Cowboys to lose the fucking playoff game and he's just running to
yeah.
go he's running to go shake Dak Prescott's hand. It's like, dude,
I just
is it,
shit the bed, but I'm going to be happy about it
yeah,
because
does this
I'm making
bother
a
you?
hundred
Like,
million dollars.
and
Yeah,
that's what like I'll give that like I love when Caleb Williams is he's the opposite. He's not gonna go shake your fucking hand. Like he's Ben Johnson, the coach. I don't give a fuck about Matt LaFleur. I'm not shaking his fucking hand. Fuck that guy. He's on the Packard. Like that's what I want. I
yeah.
want fuck you
And
energy. I want fuck you energy. I'm here to fucking win, and that's it. If we lose, get off my fucking field, and I'll see you in a few weeks.
yeah,
I'm not.
you guys snagging Ben Johnson as a head coach was
Oh, I
probably
love
one
it,
of the
man.
most
I love
brilliant
that
moves
dude.
that you've done in 20 years, I think. I mean, and
Probably
you
the
got
entire franchise history, bro, or at least going back to
yeah,
Ditka. He's probably the best hire since
yeah.
Ditka.
You guys have had some really good moments, but I think this is what now you guys actually have a coach that I'm worried about.
Yeah.
And that's honest
But you
coming
also,
from
I mean,
a
you have
Viking.
Kevin McConnell. Like, in my opinion, he's the
Yeah,
best coach in the division still.
yeah.
You know,
And
because
I
Johnson
mean,
has to go. He still hasn't. He didn't beat the Lions last year. Lost both games.
we swept them.
Yeah, that's my point. So Ben Johnson, like before I can say he's the best coach in the division, like bro, you got to go beat where you came from. The Vikings are still
Right.
out there
Yeah,
sweeping the
yeah, yeah.
fucking Lions, and you're not. You lose both games against the Lions. That's the difference between a one seed. If they win one of
You're
those
right,
games,
right.
they're the
Yeah,
one seed last year, but they weren't because they lost both to the fucking Lions. Like that
you're
matters.
right.
You have to go beat your. You have to beat your teams in the division, or at least split. And if you don't
Yeah.
split, man, that costs you in the playoffs. And that's why, like, I will always worry about the Vikings because I think Kevin O'Connell is the fucking best coach in the division. He's a
And
stud.
not just that, but Brian Flores on defense.
Yeah,
And
you got a fucking stud defensive coordinator.
we have an amazing mind. I mean, nobody knows what is coming from our defense, and to a detriment because sometimes our own players can't even get it right, and that's when bad shit happens. But he is such a freaking guru. And I'm not just talking about that zero blitz that he's so famous for. All of his protections, and now that he's got them two big motherfuckers, we finally got a wall back in the middle, so people can't run up the middle on us every time they need a first down and just automatically get it. I'm looking really forward to seeing how this shapes out because he went big. This draft, everybody wants a dog on the Vikings for this draft. He backed the truck up, dropped the tailgate, and loaded up the beef. And I tell you what, this was 10, 15 years overdue on that, on both sides of the ball. And I'm super happy about it. We don't need any other sexy picks. I mean, for fuck's sake, look at our wide receiver lineup. It's got the possibility of being legendary. And then you got
Oh, that was
Hawkinson
it.
and
Yeah,
Josh
I
Oliver in
mean,
there at tight end.
I
I
know.
mean,
But dude, the Vikings offense, they've been stacked. It's just it comes down to like what you said. Like,
quarterback.
yeah,
That's all the
I mean, I've
quarterback.
lived that my whole life with the Bears, so I get it. I'm just fucking happy to finally have one. Like it's nice to not have to worry about that. I got to worry about the fucking defense, which has always been what was the Bears were good at. And now I'm just like, well, we don't have a fucking pass rush, and we still don't
Yeah.
because we didn't draft one
So I'm
or sign.
friends with I'm friends with former Vikings quarterback Tommy Kramer, and he does a lot of
Yeah,
events at his
Tommy
house.
Kramer. Oh
Um,
shit.
so uh, one of the real estate moguls up in Minneapolis, and it's 4.5 hours north. But his name is Buddy Becker. He owns the house that Tommy lives in and everything else. But Jim McMahon
Hmm.
is really good friends with them. And Brett Favre comes up. They do like golfing outings all the time. So you got former players from the Vikings like Ted Brown, Ed McDaniel, all these guys. I've hung out with them at Tommy and Buddy's house. I've gotten all kinds of stuff autographed. Um, I don't know how your schedule and traveling abilities are, but next time Jimmy Mack comes
Hmm.
up, if you never actually met Jim McMahon in person, and
Never
yes, he
have.
did play for like a year or whatever for the Vikings too, but he's famous for winning the Super Bowl as a quarterback of the
Yeah.
Chicago
Yeah.
Bears,
He's
85.
it.
Um, I will shoot you information if you're ever able to travel next time they do one of the house event things
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
like
Let me know. I'll shoot you my number
memorabilia
after
things.
this. Yeah, I'll give you my
Yeah,
number. Yeah. That'd be
for
awesome, man.
sure
Yeah.
because I got like with the Viking World Order fan club, I've got 30 different places we can crash, whatever, or just and whatever get a hotel room. I got
Yep.
discounts through the BWO for doing that shit too and everything, and we can go hang out with Tommy and Jim
Yeah, no, that'd
McMahon,
be
and
awesome.
usually all the alumni come around.
Yeah, that'd be
And
cool as shit.
it's just cool because you sit there and you have a glass of bourbon, you have a beer.
Yep.
These guys just start telling all the stories from back in the day, and you just like the room goes quiet and they're just talking, telling these stories,
That's
and it's
cool,
just
man. That's
fucking
fucking
mesmerizing.
yeah. No,
All these legends, and just listen to them talking about the good old days. I mean,
yep.
it's awesome for a fan. Yeah.
All right. Let's get out of our division. We'll wrap this up with let's take a 30,000 foot bird's eye view of the NFL. Let me start in Pittsburgh. Do you have any expectations with Rodgers coming back?
I think he's trying to prove something. I'm not sure that they have what it takes on the team to get it done. I see him being somewhere between 8 and 10 wins.
Okay. Don't know when he's coming back, but what do you think about the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes when he comes back later probably later to the start of the season? He's still hurt.
So Patty's got a real chip on his shoulder. I mean, he's already almost at a legendary status. I think if he can be healthy, that's the whole thing. It hinges around his health. If he can stay healthy, I think he'll ball like a motherfucker. Um, the rest of the team, I don't know because they're paying him so damn much money. What are they doing to put talent around him?
And they brought Kelsey back. That's it's kind of odd to me.
It might be his last
Kind of
year.
odd. And he just didn't he just sign a 3 year deal? I mean, I get it. He can retire at any
Well,
time. And like that's just
you might be right on that. You might be right
yeah.
on that.
I just thought that was odd because I think it was a 3 year deal if I'm right. But like, I mean, I thought Kelsey was going to step away 3 years ago when they won. Like, and he's still
I
here. It's
think
like,
it, I
you're
think it was a
playing a
3 year
position
deal,
that
but if I remember right, it's a 3 year deal, but they have opt out clauses after the first
they
year.
probably do. I just think at that position, like, I mean, Kelsey's obviously a Hall of Famer, but like, man, it's kind of over.
Okay, so Gronk or Kelsey, who you're taking?
All time,
Yeah,
I'd take Kelsey.
really? Because
Yeah.
I'd go Gronk.
I
I
thought
go Gronk.
my only issue with Gronk is he got hurt way more. He get hurt a lot, and it's probably
He,
his own
he
fault.
did. He did.
Yeah, it's probably his own fault. I think you can count on Kelsey more. That's why Gronk. Obviously, I think you could probably always put bigger plays. But if you just want someone who's reliable, I would take Kelsey.
Yeah, you can't argue either of them. Both of them deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. So
Oh yeah, no, they're two fucking studs. Like they're absolute studs at that position, and it's cool to see because there's a, there. I try to remove the political side and all the bullshit with ESPN and all that these guys got,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
but
yeah. I
you know,
don't figure any of that into it, but
yeah.
yeah.
So like, I mean, I really respect what the Kelsey brothers were able to do athletically because neither one of them were high picks. Um, Jason Kelsey, Travis's brother, as a center,
For the Eagles, yeah.
I had this conversation with a buddy of mine, and he played D1 football at Colorado State. And I was like, "What position did you play?" He's like, "I was a tight end." I was like, "What was your 40 time?" He's like, I ran like a 4.95." I was like, "What do you think about Jason Kelsey, the center of the Eagles, running a 4.8, being 6'3"? Like that's fucking like people don't. That's fucking
Six
wild.
three and like 330. Yeah, I mean that's
That's
crazy.
fucking
That's some
like
crazy shit.
imagine the amount
Right?
of force hitting you at that size as a fucking center. And he's got that speed to do what he did. Like it's fucking wild. So, sports are wild to watch them play out. But yeah, to see the Kelsey
Right.
like they weren't high draft picks. They weren't really from big schools. They were just dudes, but they had whatever it took to make themselves into Hall of Fame players. Because I think they'll both be in the Hall of Fame at one point.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, to be honest, despite the fact that they play for teams that would routinely beat the Vikings, I like the Kelsey brothers, both of them. I think they've got great
Yeah.
redeeming qualities, and I think they both earned a spot.
Yeah. Um, all right, so that's the Chiefs. Let's go back to Seattle, your favorite, where Sam Darnold just signed that 3-year extension. Where you think the Seahawks can repeat? What do you think about them?
I think they have a chance to. Um,
Are you worried about Miles
the
Garrett in San Francisco? Because that was my next, or not San
uh,
Francisco, in LA.
oh, yeah, that's completely unfair. But Seattle first. I'm just glad that I did not see this coming, but we did get Seattle's assistant GM as our new GM in
Oh,
Minnesota.
really?
So hopefully,
Oh,
good
shit.
things happen.
Okay.
Yes, yep, yep. Nazer or whatever his name was. Yeah, Miles Garrett to the Rams. That they're instantly now a Super Bowl favorite. But you know what? You still have to play the games.
No, you're right. That's the biggest point. You got to play the games. NFC Championship last year, lose to Seattle. Uh, I think this makes them better than Seattle defensively, don't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just no way of getting
I
around
mean,
it. You put Miles
at
Garrett
least for
on.
1 year. I mean, Garrett's still arguably in his prime. Like he's still the best defensive fucking lineman in the league.
Oh, for sure.
And what do you think Aaron Donald's gonna come back? Like, what's that?
That's just what I was going to say. I
Yeah.
seen that rumor. They're trying to bring him back. You know what? I can see them bringing him back halfway through the season because if they're on a run and they're stacking the wins up and
Bring him in on a rotation, just get in there for a
bring
few
him in,
plays.
use him. But then when the playoff push comes, you got that beast back in there. God, who the fuck wants to face that defense?
Yeah, it's that
It's
fucking
just unfair
Rams. I
almost.
hate the
But
fucking Rams. I've always hated the Rams. I've hated them when they were in St. Louis. I hated them
right.
in LA the first time. I've never liked the fucking Rams. I just don't like them. And then I really don't like him because they beat the Bears in Chicago last year in the playoffs. I don't fucking like him. I don't like Matt
Right.
Stafford because he was on the Lions for so long. I just don't like that fucking team. I don't like him.
Our last playoff loss, unironically, was against the Rams. And it was their defense that fucking chewed our whole line up. And that's one reason why they started fixing it after that. You know, Sam Darnold and the Vikings go 14-3 and then just get destroyed by
Oh
the fucking
no,
Rams.
yeah. It was the Rams, wasn't it? Yeah, like I
Yeah, it
really like,
was.
but that was the thing with that, and that's what I like. I kind of laughed and mocked my brother. I'm like, when they signed Darnold, I'm like, Darnold can't win when it matters because like I felt like he had a bad playoff game, but did he really?
He got
It
sacked
was the
nine
fucking line
times.
who just got destroyed, and he's got destroyed. Like it's a
Yeah, he
byproduct of
got
the
sacked
line.
nine fucking times in
Yeah,
that game because the O line just collapsed. It's like,
yeah, that's wild, man.
why? First of all, this is the most Minnesota thing ever. Second of all, God, I hate my life because this is what always happens. You know, you know.
I actually, you know what? Because for the longest, I just didn't get it. I didn't like the Sam Darnold arc, but I kind of respected what he turned himself into, and I think it's fucking awesome. The dude fucking won a Super Bowl and
He,
was the
he
MVP.
freaking worked his way through adversity. You
Yeah,
got to respect
I
that.
do, I do, I really do, and it's like it was hard to acknowledge, but I got to like the dude deserves his respect. He deserves his flowers. He's a fucking stud, and he deserves his money, and he's getting it because it's really honestly like it's not even his fault. He went to the Jets, and the Jets ruined
Yeah,
everyone.
right.
Jets ruined everyone, everyone,
The
and I don't
Jet,
know how. How in in a league where you only got 32, the best of the best at some point have to go through every team, and the Jets just somehow fucking suck at everything. They fuck everyone up. They ruin
yep.
everyone. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. It really doesn't.
And they're still trying to recover from all the decisions that Salah made.
Jeez.
Oh boy,
Jeez.
I tell you, you know, I really do think Wikipedia ought to change the definition if somebody Googles what shit show looks like. The Jets logo should immediately pop up.
Let's see. They're the most cursed fan. Can you imagine being a Jets fan? Like it's bad enough you wake up, you're in New Jersey or New York, and you're like, all right, I got to pick the Giants or the Jets. Well, both teams suck right now, but at least the Giants have won multiple times this century. The Jets just fucking suck. And you're just stuck there
Yeah.
watching the fucking Jets every week. Brutal.
I mean, the only positive thing since the era of Joe Namath has been when they had Wayne Krebet and then
That way.
Keyshawn Johnson. And then they still didn't win shit. It's like it was just entertaining. That was
Yeah, and
all.
then they got Rex Ryan and they had the butt fumble. Mark Sanchez was pretty
Yeah,
good for a few years. Then the
yeah.
guy goes and tries to fight someone and gets his ass kicked. I don't know, man. It's fucking
It,
Jets.
it, 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 you know,
It's the
I
Jets.
would tell you, and I'm not trying to talk shit, but I am. Every time I get to feeling bad about being a Vikings fan with being one of the most winning teams percentage wise in NFL history that's never won a Super Bowl,
That's
all I
true.
do is look at look at what the Jets are doing, and I instantly feel
I feel
better.
better because at least you get to it sucks to lose in the playoffs, but at least you're there, right? Like,
Right.
like the Jets just know they go into every year hoping they're better than 4-13. Like that's
And you
what.
know, really, really fucking blows ass that really hurts is when we lost 2 years ago to the Rams in that playoff, we set the all-time NFL record for the most playoff losses. And we
Oh,
also hold
wow.
the NFL record for the most NFC championship losses. At some point in time, we have to win something,
Yeah, you got
right?
to win something, but yeah, I mean, you're getting there because you.
Or you just keep on stacking that fucker so
Yeah.
high nobody's ever going to beat you for most losses, right?
That's wild. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's definitely a good one.
One way or another.
Yeah. All right. Last question of the night. Give me your predictions. Remove your fandom of the Vikings unless you truly believe in it. But who do you think is winning the Super Bowl this year?
Boy, this really sucks to say, but at right now, after that Miles Garrett trade, the only team I can see that's going to give him a competition. Um, God, I always go for the Bills. The Bengals have really just fallen off so much. New England was such a great story last year, but I don't think there's sustainability.
I don't either.
Um, I would predict Rams versus. I'm just going to go on a limb here and say Bills, and the Rams dog walk them. I hate to say it. I really
So
hate to
you're
say it,
going
but
Rams, huh?
at this particular point in time, I have to almost.
I mean, obviously I'm a Bears fan, but I would love to finally see like the Bills, like you're saying, do something. The
Yeah,
Bears traded DJ Moore to the Bills, so the Bills have a number one receiver. But
yeah.
yeah, man, Josh Allen just seems to he's
The
kind of
Bills have lost. The Bills lost four Super Bowls. So the
they should
Vikings
have won
lost
last year.
four.
I mean, look what they did
The
against the
Bills lost
Broncos
four in a
last year. That was
row.
such a weird fucking
No,
game against the Broncos, man. That
I always root for the Bills when they're not like playing us or anything because
yeah.
it's like
No,
you've also
yeah. You
suffered
want to see
four
it. Yeah.
Super Bowl losses. I
Yeah.
I feel you guys,
Four in
and
a
a lot of the
row.
Bills
Four in a row.
in a row. Yeah. And the Bills Mafia fan club, I'm friends with a shit ton of those people. We've hung out at drafts in the past and everything. And you know what? If we can't win it, I would always root for them. But
Yeah, I
I
like
don't
them.
know who yeah. Right now with that Miles Garrett thing going to the Rams really changed shit in my mind.
Yeah. No, it's fair. I mean, Stafford's still in his prime. He's not in his prime, but he's still great. He's the fucking MVP
But you got
last
Puka
year.
Nakua, you got the running game, you got all the other
No, they're
things to
stacked.
augment everything
It
they're doing. Yeah,
sucks.
they're
They're
stacked. They're
stacked.
fucking stacked.
The tight end is
You know,
great. Like I fucking hate him. I actually hate him. I hate the Rams.
oh, I don't blame you. I kind of hate him too. My drummer for my band is a Rams fan
Oh,
and
really?
a former guitar player I used to have for years and years. And I finally reconciled some differences with him here over the past month at the funeral of our band manager that was our band manager back in the 90s. So Ted had actually uh, pawned a couple of my guitars I borrowed him, and they were priceless guitars you cannot get back.
Wow.
I lost my hot rod Fender Strat. I had built this thing. There's none like it in the world. But I forgave Ted. He's back on as of last week after a 5 year uh, thing. We reconciled. I forgave him. He's our lights guy. They're both Rams fans. My drummer and my light guys both Rams fans. Like, God damn it, you guys! Ah!
Yeah. Don't
And
fuck
here
this
you're
up.
set up for fucking all this success, right?
All right, man. That is Rob Haspels. You can find him on X at Viking Rob VWO. He's got the fucking horns going. Wait, real quick. Any albums you're looking forward to this year? Any albums we need to be paying attention to?
Wasn't Judas Priest going to put another one out yet
I was
before
gonna
they were
ask
done?
you. I don't know. That would be great
Um,
because I mean,
because that would be awesome. Because I love Priest.
yeah. And their
It looks
last
like they're
album, we
getting
talked
ready.
about this last time, but their last album I thought was fucking incredible. Like they
Oh God, yes.
guy's like 75 years old and still just making it, and he can still sing.
Fuck yes. I would look forward to anything coming from Priest. Um, one of my favorite bands, Queensryche, because
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah. We talked about that too. Yeah.
Operation Mindcrime is
My
one of the
brother
most
loves
amazing
them.
things.
Yeah,
That,
he loves that
with
album.
with Todd Latourie is a singer. I've seen him seven
Great
times.
singer.
I've actually
Great
hung
fucking
out on the
voice.
tour bus.
Hmm.
Just amazing. I think they're getting ready to shit something out here pretty quick.
Really?
I hope they do. I don't know if it's going to be this year. It might end up being 27, but uh, yeah, anything in that genre, I bring it,
Oh,
bring it.
dude, I would love it. And I
Especially
just
older.
no, I had mentioned to my brother, I'm like, he always he'll send me every once in a while, he'll send me like some Queensryche clip from X that's from like the 80s. I'm like, I don't even think they make men anymore who have voices like that.
No,
It's
no,
just, isn't it? Like, think about that seriously though. Like, think about the singers from these bands from the 80s and the early 90s. Like, I don't know where any of those people exist anymore. I don't know what genre they would even do now. Maybe they go into country. I don't know, but like that voice, that style, that like Bruce Dickinson, all that type of
yeah.
voice, it doesn't exist right now.
Well, like the singer for Steelheart, and he did a lot of the tracks on the Rockstar movie and everything else. Oh man, that song.
Mhm.
There, I can't even do it other than falsetto. I mean, people like that just don't exist anymore. I
Yeah.
want to see that come back.
No, I
You
do
know,
too. And I mean, this is probably a discussion for the next podcast, but like,
right?
no, maybe it's a testosterone thing.
It might be.
Huh?
Rob Halford's the fucking metal god, though. You know,
Yeah.
hopefully he comes out and everything they put out in the past 10 years, and the bass player's the original guy, and they got like Richie Kotzen and these new guys playing guitar. KK Downing has KK's Priest now. Fuck, he got Tim Ripper Owens is singing for that. So there's really like two Judas Priests going on, and all the fucking music is awesome if you listen
It
to it.
really is. Yeah. That last album was incredible. Like just the structure, the songs, like the songs within the songs, like it was fucking awesome.
Yeah, for sure. But
All right, dude,
you
Rob,
know,
appreciate your
tonight
help.
was
Appreciate you hanging
tonight
out.
was fun.
Yeah, it was. It was a good night. And we'll do it again, maybe next year, as we always do.
Absolutely.
All right,
All
brother.
right.
Appreciate you,
You
man.
take care, Eric.
Find Rob at Viking Rob VWO on X. Do that.